I had to put I had to put Spacon, that's his Discord username, doxing. I had to put his comment up to start the stream. That's why I put the little stream will begin shortly banner. C-list whiskey tuber, dude. That is that is the most accurate thing you could have possibly said. Kudos. We have our first giveaway winner of the night. It's Spacon. All right. A little late. It's cool. It's pretty typical. There's a lot to go through tonight. Kind of more than I expected. So I was actually not going to have a stream this week. I was just like, going to take the week off. You know, I don't know when the last stream was, a week or two ago, and really trying to do every 3 or 4 weeks. I don't want to do this all the time. But when I went to a coffee shop today, and I had already decided, like, I got the Roses Anthology. I've got some other bottles. I want to go through this on the stream. And then I sat down and I picked off like 5 of the most obvious bottles I wanted to taste tonight, put them in the thumbnail. Cool. It was like 3 p.m. And about 5 minutes ago, when I started pulling bottles down to go like, all right, what are we going to go through tonight? I realized there is a lot of whiskey to taste. And in fact, there's more than I'm going to be able to do in one stream. I see probably another 5 or 6 bottles at the top of my 2026 shelf, which is just out of frame, of stuff that is, you know, new to me as of the last however many weeks it's been since I streamed. We're just not going to be able to get to all that stuff. And then there are a few bottles, like bigger bottles, that I'm not going to taste tonight either. And I'm just going to put a video out and do like the first time anyone sees me talk about certain whiskeys will be in a review video, not on a live stream. Sometimes it's fun to not even preview it at all, just to put it out there. So yeah, you saw the thumbnail. And we will have a giveaway tonight. I'm just kind of covering all the bases here at the front end of the stream. We've got 100 people or so more coming in. Hit that like button, please. Pour something nice for yourself, or at least just a warm-up pour if you're going to have a few tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get Eagle Rare 12 in the glass, and just let me know what you're sipping on this evening. Especially as I get going here. Some of these newer bottles, not everything tonight is like impossible to find, unicorn tiers. Some of these are very attainable. 1792 straight rye. Depending on the area you're in, Abraham Bowman cast strength, sometimes those are like fairly easy for people to find, which is interesting. Old Hoffman, red top rye, like Blade and Bow 12-year Solera we're going to cover tonight. Like there's a bunch of stuff, again, not in the thumbnail. So if you have any of those and we get into them, drop me a comment, in the live chat. Let me know what you're getting on those. And if you think I'm totally off base or if I'm getting close to the profile. Couple cool things tonight. So yes, giveaway. I'll mention everything in the giveaway here in a second. If you want to refresh your page right now, no matter where you're watching this, right before I started the stream, I updated the description of the video. I think every sample pack that's going to be like everyone that wins a sample pack tonight is going to get, I think it's 12 samples. And you can read all of those. I'll go through it like once or twice throughout the stream. Same thing, every $5 entry, super chat, Venmo, PayPal, whatever. I'll do my best to track all this. I don't have Joe helping me track tonight, so it'll be a little clunkier. I'm going to try to keep this stream as short as possible. Let me pull up the tracker spreadsheet here. It's already ready to go, which is nice. And we have a couple of interesting bottles I'm going to open this evening. So in addition to everything like in the thumbnail and the stuff I mentioned, Red Top Rye, Blade and Bow 12, E.H. Taylor Cured Oak, Old Hoffman 6-year. I've got a Green River Distillery exclusive toasted. I got Blood Oath Pact 12. I got a Sagamore High Rye. We're definitely not going to be able to get into all of that. Abraham Bowman cast strength. Big Vat Liar from Potter Jane. In addition to whatever of those we taste along with the thumbnail stuff, Anthology being really the big one, I'm going to open 2 bottles this evening, and I'm going to include both of these in the sample pack tonight. One is a pre-fire Heaven Hill Evan Williams 23. I got this from somebody locally a couple weeks ago, picked it up, I don't know, a day or 2 ago, and I got this for a crazy good price. Like, I got it for the price of a modern-day Evan Williams 23, not a pre-fire. I have tasted pre-fire Evan Williams 23 one time at Kenny's house on the Mashup podcast. Maybe 2 different pre-fires, I can't remember. But I don't think I've tasted this particular one. I think this is maybe a 2017 or something like that. So I'm going to taste this tonight. It's not really an occasion, but it's a cool time to open this bottle. I was going to wait on it, but we'll throw those samples in the sample pack. And then finally, last but not least, the heat during shipping did a number on the glue on the back of this plate here. But what we have here is a liqueur. Speaking of Kenny from the Mashup Podcast, I tasted this one time in his basement. That sounds a little bit suggestive. It may or may not be what you think it is. Eating sourdough in a grown man's basement. That also sounds kind of weird. But this is the Grand Marnier Quintessence. This is like some super high-end Grand Marnier. It's 80 proof. Really old cognac blended with orange liqueur. It's a super cool bottle. Always wanted to own one after I tasted it at Kenny's. I got a very good price on this at Unicorn Auctions. Those words typically are never said together. And so I'm going to open this. I don't know at what point tonight I'm going to open that. Maybe towards the end. And I'm going to throw a sample of that in people's sample packs. It's not whiskey, but it's really cool stuff. And if I hate it tonight, and the only reason I liked it initially was because I was drunk in Kenny's basement, you're still going to get to taste it if you win the giveaway. Okay, so we got a lot to cover. Cheers, Igor 12. This is not my first sip of the day. I've been writing tasting notes. If you're in the Patreon, the info email with the tasting notes and tomorrow's drop link for all of the Backbone and Elkwood barrels that we have dropping tomorrow. That'll be out probably 30 minutes after this stream is done. I'll wrap all that up. Cheers. Okay. Good. Let me get situated here. Get my phone out. That way I can check out if any of these Venmos and PayPals come in. Appreciate you guys for supporting and hanging out tonight. What is up, Jeremy? Good to see you. So let me check out the chat super quick. I'm not going to be able to catch up. Everybody was betting on what time. That's funny. Sorry. Stone Cold Steve Endy. I'll put you in as Stone Cold in for one. Thank you, man. Says for the baby girl. Appreciate you. And those s'mores, those were a problem. Mike Caduce, hell yeah. Drums and Drams. Let's go. What's up, Caduce? 2 streams in one day. That's what you call content. For 2 very different reasons. Magic Talking Taco says, I'm going to pop the 12-year Blade and Bone, do a taste along. Cool. That'll be fairly early, I think, in tonight's stream. Let me get the Igor 12 out of here. So we are just going to jump right in. I'll go through the, again, just read the description of the video. If you don't see it, refresh your page for what's in the sample giveaway tonight. And I'll go over it in the next 30 minutes or something for the first time, but you can read on that. Okay, where are we going to start? We just hit some Igor 12. I want to go up in proof, you know, generally speaking tonight. And so things that stand out to me, Potter Jane Big Vat Liar, the Blood Oath, which, like, who even buys this stuff anymore? Found one at my local the other day. And we do have this, the not E.H. Taylor, excuse me, the 1792. Although, is it the same stuff? Maybe. 1792 Straight Rye. I think these are good places to start. Then we can move on to the Blade and Bow, the old Hoffman. Hoffman is 100 proof. Yeah, seems like a good starting point right now. So let's start with the Blood Oath. Let's just get into this. This is 98.6 proof. What's up, Calvin? If you guys have any questions as we go along, thoughts, whatever, just let me know. We're not doing any blinds tonight. Everything is kind of, you know, what you see on the table, which is a shit ton of whiskey. That's what we're getting into this evening. All right, Sean Howard, appreciate you. Looking forward to the Four Roses review. Thanks, man. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll wait till we get there. We'll wait till we get there. So, let me ask you guys. Is there anybody in this chat tonight that has any excitement to a new Blood Oath release? That is like, that's the ultimate question, because I probably bought, like, the last one of these I had was probably batch 8, like Pact 8, 7 or 8, something like that. There was Sauterne, and then there was something else that was, oh, maybe there was Calvados. Like, maybe 8 was Calvados and 7 was Sauterne. And after that, I mean, the fall off was already happening at that point, but those were a little spike in quality, I would say 7 and 8, and then it just continued down. I've tasted Blood Oath 1, never understood the appeal of that early Blood Oath. The price is crazy, you know, still never really understood it. Still don't understand. So we're going to get into this one. Haven't sat down with this yet. Dan Swank, thank you, man. Let me get you in for 10 entries. I appreciate that. Negative on the Blood Oath, what? Pact 11. What is Pact 11 finished in? Blade & Bow wants 900, 22-year. No, Jason, pass. It's not even good at SRP. It's a great profile, but proof is too low. It's too watery and thin. Tastes like a Dusty. Butterscotch for days, but it's so thin. All right. So this Blood Oath Pact 12, 98.6 proof, finished in Montepulciano and Sangiovese casks. So we're talking about red Italian wines. Sangiovese in particular, you're talking about a wine that has like kind of like oregano and tomato notes. I know that sounds silly because it's Italian wine, but that's kind of the point. Like if it grows together, it goes together, right? So like red Italian wine goes with Italian food for a reason. And so Sangiovese in particular, I'm not as familiar with like, Montepulciano, and I'm not a huge wine person, but I just know a little bit, and I've tasted a little bit of everything around the $50 price point, Sangiovese seems like a very odd choice to finish bourbon in. I just have to say that. It's savory and it's kind of tomatoey a little bit, and it's got like, it's a little bit tannic, and it's got some red fruit notes to it for sure, but doesn't seem like the right choice. So, I don't know the exact makeup of this, and I don't know if it's going to tell me on the side or not. Frankly, usually it doesn't really matter. It's a 7-ish to 14 blend usually with one component in these finishing casks. So on the nose, coming off Eagle Rare 12, it is just Cracker Jack, peanutty, and honey roasted peanuts. Just smells young. It just smells like a 6-year bourbon at a low proof. And who knows? Maybe going to the palate will be a little different. Let's see. There's just no reason to buy this stuff. There's just no reason. This is the least exciting whiskey on the market. There is like a sugary sweetness to this. Just straight up table sugar. Like you just dumped it in the whiskey. That's another sign to me of like a proof down, super young product. And maybe the finishing barrel is contributing to that, Do I really get an obvious red wine finish on this? Maybe I'm missing something, but not in particular. I'm just baselining myself with the Eagle Rare 12. I just don't even really get the red wine. Like if I'm looking for something that reminds me of Sangiovese in particular, maybe I'm picking it up. But to me, I don't even know if I'm going to make a video on this. I might, what I might do? I might make a video of like 5 whiskeys that no one needs to buy anymore, and this would be like the flagship in that video. If I rated this just off the rip right now, I'm probably rating this like a 71. Like this is a passable whiskey, and that is literally all it is. So if you think you need this, you don't need this. But it's still going on tonight's sample pack. Sorry about that. I don't ever determine that list after the tasting. It's always before the tasting. So at least you can taste for yourself and maybe save yourself like $120 or something. Triggs, all right, Triggs, we're going to fight about this. Blood Oath wasn't that bad. No, I think it was bad. At least for me. I don't know. We can agree to disagree. Unsubscribe. Blade & Bow 30, says Jeremy. Let's see. Saw Blood Oath at SRP, got 1924 instead. That sounds about right. What's up, Mike? Yeah, never tasted a single Blood Oath. I think, I liked 7 and 8. For what they were, I liked them. Low proof. But the thing is, even when the Blood Oaths are done well, they feel like what they are. And what I mean by that is usually just one of the, I think usually 3 components. So one of the 3 components is finished and the other stuff is not. Then you blend it all together and it just feels like you taste a nugget of finished whiskey that's not linked to the other stuff around it. And it just doesn't ever feel cohesive. What did Pact 11, did anyone ever say what Pact 11 was? I don't know. C-list palate, let's go. Realistic expectations. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the bottle over here is the Grand Marnier Quintessence. And by the way, this thing weighs like 6 pounds. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, so we'll get into that in a second. Again, it's like orange liqueur and old cognac, which sounds sacrilegious, but it tastes, at least from what I remember, tastes really good. All right, let's keep moving. Blood Oath can go over here. Let me ask you this real quick. Did anybody ever even like see the Jefferson's 20? I put the video out yesterday. Has anyone seen these like in person, or was this an online only release? They sent me an email after they sent this sample, and they were like, by the way, like we sold out online for a second, but it's back in stock. And it's like, do you want me to pass that info on to people? Like 250 bottles? It just seems so crazy, but I mean, I appreciate the sample. It's actually a very tasty whiskey, but I wondered if people actually saw them out there. All right, let's do the 1792 straight rye, because this is 100 proof. The Potter Jane's actually a higher proof than I thought, so I'm going to put that off to the side for just a second. We will need to taste the cured oak before that, before you go proof order. This is the first 1792 I've seen with a synthetic cork. Not sure if this is the first bottling with it. The 15-year that we're going to taste in a little bit, this is a natural cork still. And it has the 1792, logo printed on the side of the cork. You can see through the bottle, which is a nice little touch. This cork on the straight rye is wholly uneventful. So I don't love that change. Feels like it needs to be a longer cork. That's what she said. You're the only man to ever drink that. Only you and Caskin Point will have one. I hope Daniel doesn't buy one. I hope he doesn't spend the $500. I'm glad I got a media sample, and I was not tempted. I don't think I would have been tempted if it's a Jefferson's product, unless it was like the 130 proof. When you start hearing people talk about it, you're like, okay, I'm going to finally grab this. Or the Tropics from a few years ago. Tropics was good. Then I'll go spring for a Jefferson's. Otherwise, it's like, I don't know. Okay. So I was talking to, who was it? Prez in Discord. Or I just reacted to one of his things with a like little eek face, like, ooh. And he was like, do you not like the 1792? I actually don't know. I only smelled it and maybe taken one sip. Hadn't sat down with it. So I'm going to be curious to see how this does for me right now. Let me grab a couple of Venmo Super Chats. Appreciate you. Brandy's Johnson. Got you in for 2, says, for the hubby. There we go. Brandy. Wow, that's funny to see those two names side by side. In for 8. Thank you, Brandy. And Calvin. Mr. Calvin B. I'll put Calvin B. just in case there's another Calvin that Super Chats in for 10. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the Super Chats. And got you in for the giveaway. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Sag High Rye. I'm excited to get into that. I have not tasted that one yet. Just opened it. Oh my gosh. Look, guys, it's Adam from the management team. From the Drummer Boy management team. Adam, just a reminder, we got to get the branding right. The B and DB is not capitalized. Okay. And we got Gardner Reese. Appreciate you, Gardner. I'll just grab this last one real quick. This is all I've got in my Venmo right now. In for 1 with a little gift emoji. Appreciate you. Junior says, stream die or just me? Let me know if you having any issues, guys. All right, let's get into the 1792 straight rye. Let's see if there's anything worthwhile on the back. Proprietary rye mash bill. Okay. No age statement. And let me see online if I can find a press release real quick. Press release. Okay. I'm going to move it over here. Unlike most ryes, it utilizes the brand's signature bourbon yeast, resulting in a subtle fruit-forward sweetness. Mash includes rye sourced from Canada, Europe, and the northern U.S. Bottled at 100 proof, $40 per bottle. No talk. That was AI. So let's actually look at Breaking Bourbon. Is there any talk of age statement? Otherwise, we'll just assume 4+. Confidently stepping into the category on its own terms. Okay? Marketing speak. No hint of an age statement. All right. Let's just call it 4-year rye. I'm so sick of the white hat nonsense. All right, sorry, Adam. I'll just do this real quick, man. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Very distracting. Yeah, so this is definitely rye forward on the nose. This has, I mean, what's the best way to put it? Like, it sounds stupid to say this out loud, but in the same way that on a young bourbon, you can smell like corn grain, dusty corn grain, cornmeal, you know, like something like that. And then as it ages, that falls out and those notes morph into caramelized brown sugar, vanilla, like whatever the case may be. I think rye is kind of the same way, where you have a young enough rye and instead of it having like well integrated, maybe sweetness, maybe, I don't know, notes, orange and like other notes. This, you can just smell like young rye grain. The rye grain component is very strong. And actually maybe even a young corn component. I don't know if there's corn in the mash bill or not, but it's just super grainy. It is dill. It is herbal. I don't think it's pine. It's like MGP 11 year, you know, high proof. That'll have some pine notes. This doesn't really have pine. But it's dill, it's herbal, and it's got that like lemon meringue thing that you can sometimes get on rye. And in this case, I wouldn't even say meringue, maybe just like lemon starburst or something, because it just feels younger. I feel like lemon meringue is like an aged rye note. I feel like I get that in some older ryes because there's a little more sweetness and depth to it. This is just like, you know, artificial like lemon starburst. So it's not bad. And listen, for a $40 rye, I think the real test for this one is to put it next to other comparable bottles. I don't love the nose right now, but I'm trying to keep in mind that it's a $40 bottle. Oh, what's up? Chorbis says, cheers. Also, Chorbis rolled off the tongue a little too fast. That's a wild name for me to just rip and not even... Anyways, Chorbis, appreciate it. And if I miss any super chats in the live chat, guys, please do let me know. Said on my way to orchestra rehearsal, so no pour tonight, unfortunately. Now that's okay. You gotta do real life, real responsibilities. Good to see fellow orchestral musicians in here. Cheers. Have a good rehearsal. What are you playing? Also, don't text and drive. All right, let's taste this rye. Yeah, I just don't. Mixer? Maybe a mixer. Not a bad palate, actually. It's got a little pop of flavor up front. Has some decent sustain. This doesn't ramp up. And at 100 proof, you don't really expect too much of a ramp anyways. You kind of expect, at best, something to linger, or at worst, or maybe just more typically, just for it to fall off. This doesn't really fall off. This actually has like a little plateau, lingering flavor through it, which I like. That said, it's a $40 rye. You know, don't overpay for this. If I rated this whiskey kind of like the Blood Oath, it honestly reminds me of like the rye version of the Blood Oath, where you're like, it's fine. And if the Blood Oath was $40, that's a different proposition. So I give that a 71 or whatever I said I might give it on the Blood Oath. But that's an awful value at the price point. A 71 for me, like we're talking in the $40 bottle range, you know, maybe even less. So this $17.92 is in that same rating range, but in a rye version of it, 70, 71, like that's where I see this landing. There's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing necessarily below average about it to put it down into the 60s for me. So I'd have to land 70, 71, something like that. It's fine. Do you need, if you're an enthusiast, to run out and grab this bottle? Not a chance. If you like 1792, the presentation's always been gorgeous, except this new cork kind of sucks. The old ones did have problems, though. If you're a 1792 person, you know, if you're not like the mega enthusiast spending $1,000 a month on whiskey, and you want a rye that you can maybe mix with, maybe sip on a rock or something, this is not a bad choice, you know? It's not. Oh, dude, Glinka Overture. We're playing that. I'm playing that, well, I'm not playing it, but everybody else in the orchestra's playing it on Saturday here in Columbus, and then Firebird 1919 Rock 2. I mean, there you go. Firebird and Rock, that's just like all time, especially for a percussionist, that's fun. Rock 2, softest cymbals in the land. Awesome. Have a good rehearsal. So basically put your rye money towards Jamesy Pepper. Yeah, it's like, listen, if you're not concerned about spending $100 on a rye that's maybe slightly overpriced in the pepper, save your money and go grab one of those. That's an awesome rye, in my opinion. So yeah, no real need for this one. It's fine. I feel like a lot of streams start this way because when I go in proof order from low to high like this, a lot of the low proof stuff that I'm typically tasting is like accessible, very accessible and lower price point bottles. So like that 1792, it's a little bit doomed to fail, especially when you're going to start tasting these other things. So actually on that note, before I go to the Potter Jane, let's taste this because we're coming off the 1792. I'll leave it out here in my glass. This is the Red Top Rye from Old Commonwealth. I'll be honest, like the new Old Commonwealth, a little bit of an enigma to me. I don't know the people behind the brand. I've heard they're good dudes. Yeah. The 10-year-old Commonwealth, which now there are some barrel picks floating around. I think Prov has one. There's one that came out with like a May 2026, I think, neck, little thing like this. Then there was the earlier batches that were going for like 900 on secondary, which is crazy. All that stuff, I just never got into because I was not going to play the game of, we have a revival label, we have a 10-year age statement, and suddenly on secondary it's $900. I don't think there's any world in which that whiskey's worth that money. You know me, I love to spend money on whiskey. I love to spend a ton of money and then taste it and go, this ain't worth it. But that was just not one I was going to spend that money on. It just didn't seem, I don't know. I hear it's good. I never really took a foray into the Old Commonwealth thing until now because these were very affordable on secondary. I grabbed the Old Hoffman. I'll go ahead and pour this out too for after this. I grabbed the Old Hoffman. It's a 6-year age stated bottle with this faux tax strip. I'm going to bitch about the cork later, but worst cork of all time on this bottle. Just abysmal. But I got the pair, or maybe I got this plus the red top for like a total of $200. And I'm like, all right, that's reasonable. I'll finally get to taste some of this Old Hoffman stuff or Old Commonwealth stuff that's brewing. So let's get into the red top now. What's up, Josh Fritz? Hit that like button on your way in, guys. Unless we have 190 people in here. That's pretty good. Let me taste this red top, and then I'll run the giveaway down real quick for everybody. It's a sample pack of tonight's pours. You can read it yourself. It's in the description of the video. If you don't see it there, refresh your page. 12, I think, 1-ounce samples, including like all the heavy hitters from tonight. Some crazy bottles, Pre-Fire Heaven Hill, Evan Williams 23, etc., etc. There you go, every $5. Super chat gets you one entry. You can Venmo, PayPal if you don't want YouTube to take the 30% cut that they take. And I will always be behind on those, catch up throughout the stream. Definitely catch up by the end of the stream, run it, couple winners. I think we're going to do 2 winners tonight for those sample packs. All right, back to it. Okay, red top rye. Smells fantastic. So already, if this is, and it is, my first experience with anything from Old Commonwealth, I know I just bitched about the Old Hoffman cork, I get it, and the 10-year secondary prices, which is not necessarily their fault. But clean slate, nose red top rye, 105 proof, fantastic nose. I think this was $70, maybe? Red top rye price. $65. It says some places have it higher at 80. Okay, let's call it 65 to $80. I think this is 100% rye also. Yeah, 100% rye expression. Shit, smells great. It really does. There's a little bit of everything in here. There's no dill, 0 dill. It's oddly enough, like a sweeter rye. Not a Kentucky rye with corn. It's not like I'm smelling corn, but it's just sweeter as far as rye notes go. So there's a clean note down the middle. Like a little hint of a wintergreen, which I would call like a cleaner rye note that just is like a little bit of a laser beam on the nose. And kind of like this menthol is what it is. It's like a menthol wintergreen. You know, it kind of crawls up your nose a little bit. It's a cooling sensation with a little vanilla on top, some white pepper, but then underneath all that, it's a nice little fruit combination in here. And it's interestingly like, it's a 7-year rye, and it doesn't have like young rye fruit notes where you imagine you might get some candied citrus, and it's actually more of like a stewed fruit note. So I feel like I've got tangerines and peaches and maybe some white grapes, but like if you like cook those down a little bit and they weren't like fresh or candied or so vibrant, maybe even a little grapefruit, I don't know, but the fruit notes have a darkness, like there's an underpinning of dark oak. And surprisingly, I mean, the color on this, it's not a dark whiskey, but a 7-year 105 proof rye, it has a nice little color to it too. So this is, I mean, this is solid on the nose. Let's go to the palate. Oh yeah. I mean, there's sourness, there's a tannic sour sensation. Does that mean that this 100% rye mash bill and 7-year age statement is the Green River 100% 7-year rye that was on the NDP market a while ago? I don't know. Maybe. It also might not be, because there's other stuff floating around too that people do and don't know about with this 100% rye mash bill. But the tanginess on here reminds me of that Green River stuff. We did a couple of those picks at River Roots. Sweet Heat and Solar Flare were the names. And those had this kind of a profile, but I would have never tasted those proof down to 105, so I don't know how those things behave when you add water. None of that matters. What matters is this is a great bottle. I would buy this all day. Highly recommend this rye whiskey. And the price point being where it is, it's great. So congrats to Old Commonwealth on a great release. At least just for me. One man's opinion or one large child's opinion. James E. Pepper is also 100% rye, so who knows? Yeah, I don't think this is the same stuff though. The cooperage on this, like the barrel impact on this one doesn't feel the same as the pepper stuff. Adam said go proof one down. All right. Where is Solar Flare? I think Solar Flare, even though it's a short barrel, is probably a better representation. It's a higher proof, shorter barrel, 132.5 proof. I think it was 50 bottles or something. But it was fruitier than Sweet Heat. So let's just see how this behaves with some water added to it. It's also a good reminder for me to drink some water. 193 people in here. That's pretty awesome. Appreciate you guys. I need to probably go down a good little bit. Let's see if these things feel related. Huh. Yeah, they feel pretty related to me. I'm not saying it's the exact same stuff. All right. Solar Flare came in second for Advent. That's honestly pretty good feedback. I think it was, I don't know if it was slept on. I mean, it was so short, but even the people that got it didn't seem to love this pick. I loved Solar Flare, but I think Sweet Heat was much more preferred by the folks that had both. I'm gonna taste this proof down. That's still, the proof is still too high on that, even with that water, I think. Red Top's good. I don't know if it's the same stuff. Red Top actually has a darker oak profile to it than Solar Flare. It almost reminds me like something that was re-barreled a little bit, you know? It has a little bit of that vibe. Like you threw it in used barrels, but used barrels that still had like a decent little bit of oak impact. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it just has like a little bit more oak to it than I would ever expect a 7-year 105 proof rye to have. All right, Solar Flare's done. Red Top rye, I'll have to review that stuff and try to think about what score to give it. Very good. 7 years, a nice age statement. I'd buy a 7, a 10 if I ran across them. What is that talking about? Blood Oath, maybe? The 10-year pick's pretty good. As far as I know, it's Barton, but not worth secondary. Some of them are 700 for the same high-proof Barton stuff as others. Yeah, the mash bill on the first 10-year, I believe, I don't know if they're all this, was the 75-15-10. I think that's a copycat Buffalo Trace mash bill, but Steelbox sourced some of it. Supposedly it was from Heaven Hill. They didn't say that, but that was the prevailing theory. And then that's the same stuff, the same mash bill at least. I don't know if it's the same source. Who knows? That was in the double oak stuff from River Roots a few years back, which we picked Opus 1 and Opus 1 Coda. So if it was the same stuff as that, good whiskey. Don't get me wrong. Not $900, $700 whiskey, you know. But also not Barton. Would have been Heaven Hill. How is Solar Flare compared to Short Harvest? Listen, Short Harvest 2, which is a 30-ish bottle short barrel of that 7-year Green River that River Roots put in their gift shop. I begged for that freaking barrel. They were like, no, we're keeping this. I think Short Harvest 2 is like remarkably good whiskey. Not just for the age statement or for the price or whatever. It was just a great barrel. Very slept on. Some I remember popped up on Unicorn and went for like a criminally low amount. And I was like, what are we doing? So mine is back somewhere on my 2025 shelf. Okay, let's dive into this now. So enough, just had a great red top rye. Let's go into this. This is the Old Hoffman 6-year. Now, I saw a post on social media at some point of this, and it was like showing the barrels. I don't know if the barrels said Old Hoffman on it, but it was clearly double barreled is what I'm saying. The barrels were clean. They were like clean Kelvins. So you can tell that they've been double barreled. And I was like, oh man, are they not saying that they're double barreling their stuff? And then I saw somewhere that they were saying it. And then if you look on the faux tack strip, up here it says double oaked. On the back, I haven't looked yet. Yeah, I don't love this. I think this is a little deceptive. Whether it's intentional or not, I think it's a little obscure for me. Yeah. Oh, no. There it is. Okay, it's on the back. Our homage in your hands now is a bold, double-barreled Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Okay. I still think, I'm sorry, I think if you're going to double-barrel something, you got to put it on the front label. You got to put it on the front. You got to be open and transparent about it. Not on the tack strip and not 2 words on the back of a bottle in a paragraph of text. Okay, that's that criticism. Fine. The other thing about this bottle that I can't stand is this cork flares out because this neck of this bottle also flares out. When you go to put it in though, it's destroying the cork. It's ripping it apart. There's fragments of cork falling in the bottle. It's just not good. So even if we're trying to remake old whiskey, we can remake it in a little better way, I hope, with the cork. So this is a situation where I would say if you want to go with this weird flared cork thing, maybe we can do a synthetic if it's possible. We're going for classic look, natural cork. I think we got to do better than that. Okay, on the nose, clearly double-barreled for sure. It has that, it has that Kelvin smokiness when you double barrel in Kelvin. That note comes out sometimes in initially aged stuff in Kelvin. Like if you just age it in Kelvin and that's it, no double barreling. Sometimes you get this level of smoke, but it's a much more rare occurrence. But if you double barrel in Kelvin, especially if you only leave it in 3-6-ish months, something like that, maybe up to a year, it doesn't settle enough and you get a lot of that smokiness. Then over time, if you leave it in for several years double barreling, that's when it starts to mellow itself out. You lose the smoke. You start to get more cola, more richness, and sarsaparilla, all that kind of thing. So yeah, this is smoky. It's kind of like burnt chocolate. Price on this was also fairly affordable, if I recall. Old Hoffman, 6-year price. Yeah, I mean, $65. Again, not a bad price. 100 proof on the dot. But it just smells like we're kind of trying to double oak the crap out of something that's, you know, young, and all I'm getting now is secondary barrel notes. That's the only thing that's recognizable on the nose. Yeah. This is fine. I think for somebody that loves double oaked, wants an affordable kind of go-to whatever, this could function as that. Otherwise, for me, I'd rather pay up maybe a little bit more and find a barrel pick that someone's done. Whether it's, I know they do picks of this, whether it's this or like just another brand that's doing barrel picks where you can get something a little more unique. This is just all secondary cask, and that's it, you know. And that's kind of what you expect. 6-year double oaked. You need that second barrel to probably do some heavy lifting depending on what the base distillate is in here. So I'm a little more lukewarm on this for sure. Red top, easily for me, especially someone that loves rye. If I had to pick one of these, I'm picking the red top 10 out of 10 times. Isn't that the law? Can't only call it bourbon if it's been double barreled. Yeah, I think on the front label, I think probably it should say that. If I had to put on my TTB hat, the TTB lets so much shit slide. I think it probably should say Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in new charred oak barrels. I really think it should say that. Or some version. Double barreled. Like, just give us anything on the front label. How does it compare to Peerless Double Oak? It doesn't even come close. The Peerless Double Oak just has so much more depth, and there's a lot going on with those Peerless Double Oaks. I like it better than the Peerless 10, just because the Peerless 10 is so overpriced, and I think falls off on the palate too much. Grainy and Dill are two descriptors that'll send me packing quicker than anything. I wasn't expecting anything out of this bottle from Bartlett. Yeah, I agree with like kind of all that. All right, let me grab a few more super chats from Venmo here. We're going to move on from these. What was this? Okay, we're going to move on from these things. That was the 1792, which I didn't need to revisit because red top was considerably better for me. Char level on double oak matters so much too. It's a good point. Oh, wow. A lot of super chats came in there. I think the next thing I'm going to pour is going to be E.H. Taylor Cured Oak. So, yeah, you can see I've literally had one sip of this stuff. I think it was on the live stream with the Junkies. Maybe I took a sip of it. All right. So while this gets a little bit of air, 100 proof, bottled and bond. You know the deal with this stuff. I'll look up if there's an age statement here in just a second. Tater me, which is still kind of me. You know, tater me from 6 years ago. If you told me that I was ever going to have a bottle of Cured Oak, whether or not it's an old or a new batch or it's not as good, I just would have thought you were crazy for saying that. So there is a little part of me, Buffalo Trace knows this because of their scarcity. There's a little part of me that is like so happy to have this bottle, even if it totally sucks here in a second. So how does it compare to Old Tub? What? How does what compare to Old Tub? That's disrespectful. Don't ask how anything compares to Old Tub. These went. yeah. These did go 1,500 to 700 secondary. I think now they're like 450. I got mine at like 4 something. So 100%. Matt, what's up, dude? Hey, are you coming to the barrel pick, Matt? Get you in for 4. Hey, Cam, what's up, dude? Thanks for that. Adam wanted to gamble tonight. That's what he wanted. Adam is in for 20. Jesus, dude. Said, we'll build this back. Just wanted to pump up the numbers. Do not display this. Well, whoops. Didn't screen that. He said, OMG. That's good. James Sachs. Got a Venmo from James. In for 2. Said, cheers, sir. Thank you. Isaac B. is in for 1. Said, in for the Blood Oath. There we go. All right, Isaac. He wants to try the Blood Oath. Nick Conlon. Got you in for 4 with a little baby emoji. Thanks, man. Marshall, following up on Brandy, the earlier super chat, is in for that's husband and wife, guys, just so in case anyone doesn't know. Said, cheers, but where is the jazz in the background to set the mood for the evening? Yeah, I'll turn the jazz playlist on. Same one for how many years at this point? All right, we'll just rip it. Elevator jazz music, basically. All right, let me get like 2 more of these, and then I'll have to pick up where I left off. Sean Howard in for 2. Thank you, Sean. Said for the samples. And then Peter Chase in for 3. We'll wrap up here, and I'll get back to Walker next. I'll do Walker, actually. Peter said, these Thursday night streams are like a bridge to the weekend. Sipping on the Booker's Big Easy. Great batch of Bookers. Great batch of Bookers. Cheers. Thank you, Peter. And a great comment. And finally, Walker. I got to get Walker in here because Walker with a 20 entry super chat, $100. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Not much to say from Walker, but I appreciate the support as always, and I love reading his tasting notes in the Discord. Keegan, usually I try to use the business Venmo and PayPal, but either one is fine. I end up transferring it over anyways because I do claim all of it. I do claim all of it on my taxes. No BS. No BS. Cam, are we laser coating E.H. Taylor cured oak like C923? I don't know yet. I got to talk to the junkies about that. Smells good. You know what I'm going to grab? I don't know why I didn't already think of this. Because we've got 2 of these this year, we got the 4 grain and the cured oak, may as well choose a favorite. Neither of these, just based on smelling the cured oak, neither of these are going to be in any sort of running for top 40 of the year, But I thought the 4 grain was a little lumpy, had its problems. Instead of seeming like a rye bourbon with wheat added, it seemed like a wheated bourbon with rye added, where the rye took it off course. That's like that threw me off a little bit. Color difference. 4 grains actually, they're about the same. Dan, thank you for the super chat, man. Dan H in for freaking 20, working through the G-word samples tonight. Thanks, dude. Yeah, let me know what you're sipping on as you pour those. Dude, thank you for the super chat. Wow. Do you keep the Taylor tubes? Makes them harder to fit on the shelf. I just put them on the top shelf of this. I have a shelf over here with all 2026 releases on it, so I can kind of access them a little easier. And then 2025 is on the bottom couple of shelves. I put the EH tubes on the top. And then behind me here, you can't see it, behind these Scotch boxes. You kind of see them peeking out there. The EH tubes just barely fit underneath. Yeah, and again, I'm smelling the 4 grain to go back to the cured oak. And this 4 grain, it's like rye heavy. It's like they added a rye to a wheated bourbon and added the same kind of lift that I talked about on Red Top. It's that same kind of effervescent, not even effervescent, like menthol cooling lift on the whiskey. Then onto the cured oak. Cured oak is darker, which you would expect. This is what's so funny about cured oak to me. This bourbon is aged inside oak barrels made with staves cured for 13 months. More than twice as long as typical staves. I love that they do this because Buffalo Trace, if you guys go look at the, the wrap sheets for BTAC bottles that you can find online and that come in the actual, cases themselves, they will have like information on the cooperage and the entry proof and the warehouses and all that. And if you look on that, I think pretty much all Buffalo Trace at this point, maybe not the super low quality shelfers, maybe those are even less, but everything is like 6-month kiln dried staves in their barrels, which is bad. Like that's like mass production bad barrel staves, okay? Which is probably a big part of the reason whiskey is not as good right now. But for them to say that 13 months is more than twice the average, it's like, okay, so you doubled your 6 month that you do for everything else and you added a month. Like, Whoop-de-freaking-do. I do think that's funny. Because 13 months is still really not that long to cure staves. It's like that should be the bare minimum. How does it compare to Old Charter Finest? Old Charter Finest is way sweeter than these. It tastes younger, tastes sweeter. It's like a powdered sugar donut and vanilla. I love that bottle as a warm-up pour for the night and as something that is just so crushable and accessible, but it's, you know, it's a whiskey that's like a 70 out of 100 kind of, 72 out of 100. Like it's in the same range I talked about earlier, but with a profile that I really love. If I didn't love the profile, I'd rate it even lower, to be honest. Because it's just, there's really nothing to it. Yeah, 13 months is so short and kiln. Yeah, kiln dried. There we go. Victor's would like to have a word. Austin, thank you, man. In for 10. Said, for all business inquiries, speaking requests, or media opportunities, please email Adam at Drummer Boy Management or Austin at Drummer Boy Management. And yes, Adam and Austin have self-appointed, they are self-appointed management now of Drums and Drams. And that's a real website and a real email address. I don't think the website's up, but certainly a real email address at drummerboymanagement.com. So I actually copied them. They're copied on emails right now for an event we're doing in October. I can't tell you how embarrassing it was to copy them with drummerboymanagement.com email handles and then be very serious in saying, these guys are going to help me. They're going to help us do logistics for this event. God. Adam, don't fucking lie. Site will be up soon. We are legitimate. All right. Let's taste this cured oak. The cured oak is... All right, let me actually give you some notes. Sorry, we're getting off track. It is... Man, there's almost like a little cream soda thing. Like typically with Buffalo Trace products, I'm never talking cola notes unless maybe it's like a William LaRue or like a GTS. People might say like cherry Coke on some of that stuff. Still, I think GTS doesn't even go cherry Coke anymore. I think it's just hot cinnamon. But this actually has a little bit of a cola thing. And particularly like cream soda. Okay, it's cool. Nothing really to it though. That's kind of good. It's tasty. It's an $80 bottle. I mean, SRP or bust on that. Let me taste the 4-grain now. Dude, the notes in the 4-grain, I don't like this. I feel like I'm smelling a grainy rye note. I don't even remember... I don't remember having this much of a reaction to that note last time I tasted it. I think I like cured oak better. It's more put together. It's basically just a normal E.H. Taylor. I would say single barrel probably. Let's say single barrel. Let's not go small batch. It's like an E.H. Taylor single barrel with like 18% more concentration. That's pretty much what it is. That's what you're gonna get for 7 more months of seasoning your staves or drying them or whatever. What are they saying? Staves cured for 13 months. More than twice as long as typical barrel staves. All right, whatever. Yeah, anybody that wins the giveaway tonight, you can taste this. I didn't put the 4-grain in the sample pack. I can only fit 12 samples in one of these boxes. So, excuse me, 12 will have to do. What's up, Travis? Yeah, hit that like, please, guys. We have over 200 people hanging tonight. That's pretty crazy. Hey, listen, if you're watching right now, I'm sure most of you are subscribed if you're tuning into such a nerdy whiskey live stream, but if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We are dangerously close to 40,000 subscribers, which is pretty wild. Would have never expected that to happen. If you talk to me, last year, early 2025, before that one YouTube short got almost 40 million views, which is so hilarious still. The views on that have since slowed up. In the last couple of weeks, it's doing 10,000 views a day or something. It was doing like 100 to 200,000 views a day, every day for almost a year. Like, it was really crazy. It has definitely slowed up now, but that little subscriber boost, and by little I mean like 25,000 subscribers, was crazy. And so the channel being where it is now, would have never expected this. So yeah, sometimes you get a lucky break, you know. Dan, EC21 was great, really enjoyed it. Blade Bow 22 was really thin for me. Happy to try. Yeah, no want to buy. Mystery Pour got the rye spice and mint. For some reason, I also pick up a taste of mango. Have you done the reveal yet, Dan, on the Mystery Pour? That was one that I just didn't want the label to cloud anybody's judgment. It wasn't because I thought it was an incredible whiskey. I'm honestly a little torn on that whiskey, but I wanted to see what people thought of it before they saw the label. I like putting Mystery Pours in sample packs too now. That's kind of a fun new thing. How many views on this week's short? It was 1,000 in the first like hour, and then I deleted it because people got pissed. All right. Let's keep going. Let's do this. 108 proof. What's the Blade Bow? 104. Let's still do the Sagamore High Rye first. Actually, let's just do them side by side. Why not side by side? I have heard from so many people about this Sagamore High Rye bourbon that you gotta pick this up. You know, great value. They're doing good stuff. Everything I've had from Sagamore, pretty much a home run. I actually like the 8. I like the age-stated ryes in reverse order. I like the 8 better, then the 9 better, and the 10 last. That was just for my palate. I feel like we got brighter as the age statements went up instead of darker. I thought the 8 was the darkest of those. And it had so many like great blackberry notes. It's kind of uncommon for MGP at that age. But everybody talked to me about this high rye bourbon, and they said you got to pick one of these up. I never saw it. Ended up finding one just like kind of online on a whim. Remedy Liquor, $45. Whatever, man. I got it with the 1792, and I got it with a IW Harper 15 year, which I have already from 5-6 years ago. It's open, half gone. I was like, let me pick up a fresh one of these and see like where we are with IW Harper 15. It's a super low proof but high age stated Diageo product. We'll just see where it's at, and I'm not gonna taste it tonight, but maybe I'll do a video on it. I got all that for so cheap, so I grabbed this Sagamore. Then I had no idea about this bottle. Blade & Bow 12-year age-stated Solera. Little deceptive marketing going on here. This one to me is worse than the old Hoffman. I'm not thrilled about it not saying double oaked on the front label, even though it has it on the faux tax strip and on the back. But this I feel is deceptive. I've loved, listen, Blade & Bow 30. Bullet 20, all the things Nicole Lawson is having a hand, Stitzel 31, all the stuff she has a hand in producing right now, I'm loving. She is not the marketing department. She is not the bottle design department. I'm trying to get a hold of Nicole. If anybody has a contact, let me know. I want to get her on a live stream, do a tasting. That'd be fun. But this just says on the front, blended Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey rested in vintage casks. Okay, preserving our rarest whiskey stocks and the spirit of Stitzelweller. It's not actually Stitzelweller in here. Using the rigorous Solera aging method. If you guys know what Solera is the best way to describe it. This is gross, but it's a good analogy. If you guys ever have a cat, you have a litter box. If you go scoop the cat's poop and pee out of the litter box, and then you just add more litter to the litter box, and you never actually dump the box out, clean it, and then refill it with litter, that's a Solera. Because you just keep mixing it into the same old thing. That's a Solera vat. So you have giant, barrels or fooders or whatever kind of tanks, like whatever format of barrel they have. And then you're just dumping into it. You might, drain some of it out or like use it to bottle or whatever, proof it down. But you just keep blending into the same giant format barrel. Absolutely wild analogy. Yeah, it is, dude. All right. What's up, Sam? Good to see you, bro. Oh, what's up, Matt Porter? Missed this. Saw President's Choice today for 300. Ooh, 300. Almost bought it till I realized that age 92 months is only like 7 years. Thank goodness for, dude. Yeah, the fall off of President's Choice and just kind of Heaven Hill as a brand, and I know those are two different things. That is Old Forester, that's Heaven Hill, but those two things came to mind. The fall off of President's Choice and the fall off of Heaven Hill, the entire brand, needs to be studied. Bad, very bad stuff going on there. Sample size, just 1 ounce samples. 1 ounce samples of these things. Oh, Matt, I miss you up here too, man. I was too busy rambling. You son of a bitch. Cheers. Good to see you, bro. So you have a Solera management company. He just compared it to Cat Learner and wonders why the marketing department won't answer his emails. Funny. Funny, funny. Okay, let's do Sagamore and Blade and Bow. Oh, so back to this whole crap. Blade and Bow, the reason it upsets me is because it says rested in vintage casks right after they did Blade and Bow 30 and Stitzel 31. Anybody that knows anything about the brand is going to know that those barrels were just dumped and that stuff was produced. So when you see rested in vintage casks and it's coming from the Stitzelweller distillery, no part of you thinks that they're talking about port, cognac, muscatel, and Bordeaux casks, which are the 4 things that they're using in this blend. Very deceptive. Unacceptable from Blade and Bow. Look at this. Look at this. Aged in charred American white oak barrels to create a whiskey with notes of sweet toasted cereal, warm winter spice, and dried fruits. No comment about the wine finishing. Nowhere on the freaking label, man. You got to look on the press release. It's BS. I'm sorry. All right, back to the tasting. I like the nose though. This is the problem. It smells great. Smells great. Over to the Sagamore. Let's do Sagamore first. Sagamore has a little oatmeal cookie thing to it. Yeah, it's, 6 years. Is it 6 years old in this? High rye bourbon. This dram belies its complexity under a forthright 2-grain recipe. Oh, aged minimum 6 years. I gotta look this up. Sagamore High Rye 6-year mash bill. 2-grain recipe, huh? Oh, and it's triple distilled. Why does it say 118 proof online? It's 108 on mine. Batch 2C is what I'm looking at. But it says, let's see. Okay, triple distillation. I don't love triple distillation, if I gotta be honest. You're stripping a lot out of that whiskey. And I think it becomes very obvious on a bottle like this, which I forgot we have for tonight if we want to get to it. A. Smith Bowman Cask Strength Batch 5. All the Bowman stuff is triple distilled. I think you lose a little bit of something from the whiskey when you do that. Just look at Irish whiskey. More flavorless than Scotch, in my opinion. It says that it's 118 proof. Is that like a distillery-only thing? I don't know. Even on their own website, and then the picture says 108. The reason it says 2-grain, 60% corn, 25 rye, 15 malted rye. So they're calling it 40, basically 60-40 mash. I wonder if that's why I'm getting that oatmeal cookie thing. All right, let me taste it. It smells good. It doesn't smell amazing. Oh, that's different. There is a very, this is going to sound like an oxymoron, a very distinct note, but it's in the background. But I can't get away from it right now. There's a burnt popcorn note. I feel like I am at the movie theater and I just popped in a burnt piece of popcorn in my mouth. But it's in the background. Up front is sweetness. You can actually taste that kind of malted rye component in here, which adds like a different kind of a rye spice note. Still with that oatmeal cookie. Very just kind of like spicy caramel notes. Sounds so typical. It is kind of typical. It is kind of a classic-ish profile. That burnt popcorn thing, I can't get over that. Not a fan of whatever that is. That's weird. and it just comes and goes. I don't know. That's okay. At $45, that's a great bottle for $45. But that one note is distracting me so much. I don't know where that would be coming from. It is their own distillate. I love when I get a butter note on my bourbon. Depends for me on the butter. If it's like real kind of, you know, brown butter, then I like it. If it's just a stick of butter, not a fan of that so much. Batch 2 is this year. Okay, so maybe this year's lower proof. Calvin is such a troll. Oh, that was an accident. Okay. He said gotta be corn and barley. No, wait. It's not a rye. So I had Sagamore rye in my head. I'm like, dude, are you saying corn and barley for a rye? You are such a troll. No, actually, your first impression was totally a fair guess, even if it was a mistake. Always look forward to your videos. Keep them coming. Thank you, Lunchy. Appreciate that. Speaking of which, I am behind on Super Chats, so Lunchy got you in for 2. Appreciate that. Let's go now to this Blade and Bow, which, like I said, we have a Solera method. I don't exactly know how they're doing it. Is it like a Solera vat for Muscatel, Port, Bordeaux, and Cognac, and then just like blending in after the fact? Are they re-blending in unfinished to this? I don't know. Could be a lot of things. I will say this. I read the front label, did not know this was wine finished, smelled it, tasted it, still would have never known it's wine finished. I do not think, let me rephrase this. I do think they did a great job with this as far as finishing goes. They just boosted notes that are already in the profile, it seems. There's just added fruit, but it does not feel forced like a finished whiskey. I really, really like the nose. I get a little like kind of raisin vibe, but in the context of feeling unfinished. I mean, there's all sorts of fruit, which you would kind of expect, right? It's grapey, it's raisiny, it's not so much berry. It's more, yeah, figgy. It's kind of like dry fig notes. It's like that. I really like this whiskey. The palate journey is not great. It's spice up front, and it kind of peters out, which often will happen with finished whiskeys, actually. You know, you lose trajectory on a sip with finished stuff. That makes it fall off a little bit earlier. But if I forgive that about it, because this is a $65 bottle with a 12-year age statement at 104 proof, that's a hell of a deal. That is a higher proof and same age statement as Knob Creek 12-year, you know? Like, and it's right in that same price range. If you forgive the drinking experience and just focus on the profile, which I think is a fair thing to do at this price point, this is a very good bottle of whiskey, in my opinion. Because I don't think it tastes finished. I think it just tastes boosted. Oh, dude. Sipping on Pride of Anderson and it's elite. Don't tell me that. That overpriced turkey barrels. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me it's good. I'll never buy one, but don't tell me it's good, please. Terry, really have FOMO. Seemingly, Terry, these are going to be kind of easy to get. What's up, Toshi? That is a name I love to see in here, man. All right. I got to keep catching up here. Larry Batterson, let me get your super chats going. Let me quickly, guys, before we keep going, we have so many more bottles to cover. This is like a marathon tasting. I'm having fun. Feeling really good right now. I've been taking the smallest sips, which is helpful because I already did one tasting earlier for Patreon. I'm feeling great. I'm going to drink some water right now. I'll remind you of what's in the giveaway for the sample packs. And yeah, we just got a lot to get through. Reminder to Patreon that about 30 minutes after the stream, you will get the info email for tomorrow's Backbone and Elkwood drop. If you guys aren't in the Patreon, we are dropping some pretty cool barrels tomorrow. If you do want to get in on the drop, I'll just say that it works a little differently for us. I send an info email out to the email associated with your Patreon account, that has the ordering link, but it does not have the password. In that info email, you get tasting notes, you get all the information about what is going to be up for grabs, the time that goes active in your tier, and then the following day at your designated drop time, which you will find out in the email, that's when the password, only the password posts into the Patreon, and you use the link from the previous day's email, go to the URL, enter the password that just dropped, then you can get your bottles. So if in case anybody joins and you're looking for our barrel picks tomorrow, we have 3 mega short barrels that are not going to make it past like the first 2 tiers. Sorry. And then we're going to have 3 barrels that will make it past. If you want to join and you want in on that, I'm going to send that email like 30 minutes after the stream. Join Patreon within the next 30 minutes after the live stream. I'll just say that. Otherwise, you're probably going to miss the email. There are redundancies for you to get that information in the Discord, but a lot of people, I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I can't monitor everything. Then you get people that are pissed off. So just letting you know. All right. Got to get a little extra water going. I don't know how you can get a good nose. Mine's cooked from all the smoke. What do you mean? Like, are you a smoker, cigar smoker? Corey is drinking Integrity Bros 11-year hazmat beam. We've got, all right. So number 1, that's the 146 proof, the blend of the 2 barrels, I think. How is it? Number 2, we have 6 barrels of that stuff that we're going to drop probably within the next month or so. 2 from River Roots, 2 from Elkwood, and 2 from Hartfield. We have 2 shorties in the mix. It's like a 35 bottle and a 40 bottle shorty. And then we have like an 80 yield, that's finishing in a 19-year beam barrel, and then a 105 yield and a 130 yield. So we kind of got a little bit of everything. Proofs from 138 to 144. So I'm excited about those. Oh, from the wildfires. Sorry. I was like, what's going on? I forgot about that. Yeah, we're not getting that effect down here so much. All right, one more sip of this Blade and Bow. I just think this is a good bottle for $65. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's like a 76, 77 for me on a first pass rating. But at that price point, that's a fine value ratio. I'll leave this on the table. Hey, Ken, just want to make sure you got my super chat. Nick, yeah, I'm just behind on super chats, man. I will get to all these, I promise. If I missed one in the live chat itself, like up on the screen, that's when someone should all caps. Oh, and yours was there. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, give me an all caps on that, dude. Larry Batterson, I just got you in for 2 with those taco emojis. Thank you. And Nick, thanks for that reminder. Feel free to all caps me and shout it out. Cheers, girl dad. Best dad to be. I have 3. Good luck, bro. Thank you, man. I got you. The dad thing is like the coolest thing ever. We are in a phase right now where she is very fussy. We've had 3 great weeks, and now we've had 3 really rough days. So, ebbs and flows. Wow, I missed that a while ago. Sorry about that, man. And then there was Lunchy. Got that. Okay, we're good on here. Wildfires. Cam, have you not been outside? I was outside today, but I don't think it's down here quite as much. The outdoors have become Octomore. I guess I do need to get outside more then. Jeez, dude. Anderson, Pride of Answer County, 21 a Port Liquor Barn, 9.5-year turkey juice that tastes like Russell's 10 on steroids. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, dude, that's the same exact stuff that we're dropping tomorrow. This is not meant to be the way to plug this, but I just will. We have 2 of these barrels. We have a 120 bottle yield and a 76 bottle yield of the exact same barrels that are in the Pride of Anderson County stuff, and these are 110 tomorrow, not 250 to 400. So, I mean, it's just marked up to shit. It's just rare character stuff, you know? So, other people are going to have barrels just as good or better from different NDPs. You're going to see some stuff probably from Hartfield. I don't know if River Root's got any of that stuff, but definitely Elkwood and others at a fraction of the price. Amy, is Amy in here? Amy says, cheers, Cam and crew. Amy, good to see you. Excuse me. I'm a beam nut, so I may be slightly tilted, but I love this Integrity Burst offering. No, and they don't drink the proof, and none of them are nutty. These new hazmat beams were contract distilled, as far as I know. I've heard some confirmation on this. These hazmat beams were contract distilled for Bullet with a different yeast. So that's why nuttiness in whiskey most of the time is coming from the yeast strain. These were distilled with a different yeast for Bullet. So there you go. I mean, they're all super hazmat high proofers, and none of them have that beam nuttiness, but they just are like pretty solid whiskeys. And they're fun. They're really fun whiskeys to drink too. Mitch Libby, thank you for the super chat. Let me get you in for 2. Been a passive viewer for years. Time to get active. I will Venmo super chat. Super chat generational wealth the next time I see a Scotch Sunday live stream. All right, let's do it. Generational wealth, you say? We can arrange that this Sunday. Dude, thanks for the super chat, man. Thanks for jumping in, too, after lurking. That's cool. Toshi, yeah, it's babies. They'll be happy, and then all of a sudden crying, no sleep, but it'll pass. This is fun. I'll put this on the screen. That is really funny. Any chance we might see another LLME type batch of Russell's 10 this year after the 16-year gold foil was bottled? I don't know, but that would be kind of interesting. Ken, what happened to the days you used to go hiking and review bourbon on your hikes? That was a little experiment. It didn't really take off, but it was fun. Whiskey Wear, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, but you don't have a palate like Pablo. So sorry. So sorry. All right. Good, let's keep it going. Let's keep moving. I have to get more glassware. Actually going to run low on glasses. I might have to run upstairs for some if we keep it up at this pace. I only have 12 more clean glasses down here. We still have a lot of whiskey to taste. Yeah, real quick. We're doing Potter Jane next, by the way. Right. Yes. We're going to do Potter Jane Big Vat Liar. 6-year Kentucky bourbon whiskey finished in oak casks. Doesn't smell great. Does not smell great. We have a giveaway tonight. Every $5 is an entry at Venmo, PayPal, or in the live chat, super chatting. You guys know how it works. List of those is in the description of the video. I will run that down real quick. 12 1-ounce samples. We have Cheesy Gold Foil, which we haven't tasted yet tonight. E.H. Taylor Cured Oak. This Evan Williams, which we're going to crack on the stream. Evan Williams 23, pre-fire. 1792 15-year, we still have to get to. 1792 rye, tasted. Bowman Cask Strength Batch 5. Old Hoffman Small Batch. Didn't love that, but you can taste it, decide for yourself. Red Top Rye, did like that. This Grand Marnier Quintessence, which we're going to crack tonight. Definitely not a whiskey, but fun. Blade and Bow 12-year Solera, dig that one for the price. Blood Oath Pact 12, nah, but you're still going to taste it. And Four Roses Anthology, which is the star of the show this evening. Those are the 12 1-ounce samples. Let me make sure that's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, there you go. We are Cheesy Gold foiling this place up. Did you cop a 1792-15 yet? What timing, Studers? What timing, man? There you go. Yeah, for way too much friggin' money for one of those. What was in LLME? They're still on shelves. Buy them all if they're on the shelf. Someone else can talk about that in the chat. I don't want to get into all that. Terry, thanks for jumping in and being a member, man. All right. Potter Jane, Big Vat Liar. I don't really know the story on this. Pants are on fire on the front. That's kind of funny. This has that kind of cognac bottle shape. I like the yellow cork. Kind of sick. Like the design of this very much reminds me of like I feel like I'm about to drink a natural wine, you know, natural biodynamic wine at some hipster coffee shop that sells the wine bottles, and you can have them open them for you once it hits 6 o'clock and it turns into a bar. Like very San Francisco. Like the whole thing feels like that to me for this design. Let's see. Potter, Jane, Big Vat Laya. There was like this whole market, I'm not gonna be able to find it here. There was this whole marketing thing about this. It was cutesy or whatever. I'm not gonna get into it here. We'll just taste the whiskey for what it is. Garrett Kowalski, thank you for the super chat. Let me get you in here, Garrett. Garrett Kowalski in for 4. Thank you, Garrett. Cam, last stream, you gave your opinion on what you thought Heaven Hill 22 was worth. Well, I spent that much, and I'm here to tell you were wrong. Still a value. That bottle blew my mind. Garrett, let me ask a follow-up question just to defend my honor on this, which I'm happy to be wrong, by the way. Because most people tell me on the Heaven Hill 22 thing that I'm wrong. I understand. How many bottles, like, are you somebody that, like, that was a reach bottle from a price point perspective, or are you someone that's, like, spending that regularly on secondary? Like, where are you at with the kind of stuff that you're drinking? I don't want to say day-to-day, because that's a crazy day-to-day pour, but I'm just curious, like, how many other things in that price range are you comparing it to? Because I do think, like, I am spoiled with the whiskey thing, right? Just the money that comes into the channel goes right back out to buy all this whiskey. And so I can definitely be overly critical on things. And especially with Heaven Hill. Because it's like we know what Heaven Hill's capable of, and for some reason, I just have this weird taste in my mouth over the last couple years. But I'm just curious, like, what other bottles in that realm would you put that next to and be like, or is that like a top bottle you've had? And I don't mean this, I'm trying to ask this in like I don't want to sound like a whatever. It's a legit question. I felt like there was too much spice on the whiskey. It opens up better than it starts. I just felt like there was too much spice on the whiskey up front and not enough fruit. And it was kind of one-dimensional in a certain way. And then it gets better with air. Snob take. Okay, here we go. Let me have it, dude. Come on, let me have it. See, it's funny. When you want to say some shitty thing like that, the best part about it is when I've already prefaced it with like, hey, I'm a little disconnected. I spend a lot of money on whiskey. And then you say that like you got me. Yeah. Nice. All right. Okay. Yeah, Big Vat Liar. This is just super young smelling. Okay, when I say it's too spicy, I do want to clarify that. I don't mean like in an overall sense where I drink it and go, oh man, I can't stomach that. I meant like in the context of the whiskey. So if like all the different components of the whiskey are, here's your sweet, here's your this, here's your oak and this. It felt like the spice was just disproportionate to the rest of it when I looked at the whole profile. Not that it was like unbearably spicy on the palate. That's not what I meant. All right. Yeah, this Potter Jane is just... There's a lot of lemon to this too, weirdly. Kind of, I don't know if I'm being incepted by the yellow top. Ooh. Tastes like cornflakes with sugar sprinkled on top. Whew. And malty too, like pretty malty, which I don't have a problem with. I love Scotch single malt. Just because it's so grainy, the maltiness stands out. That's a pass. That's in the upper 60s rating wise for me. That's a pass. See, okay, I like this take. This is just an easier way to sum it up. Compared to other hyper-aged Heaven Hill, the 22 is meh. That's a great way to say it. That's a great way to say it. And Mark, you're totally right. Listen, I mean, even up to like secondary, it's not a bad buy, to be honest. It's just in comparison to some of these other bottlings and the things that we know they're capable of. Especially because that 22-year age statement is such a high age statement. You know, so then when you start looking at previous 15s, 16s, 17s, 19s, like other things that Heaven Hill's put out, then you're just like, wait, 22, like this doesn't, you know. I feel like it's supposed to be better than those other ones when it is in some cases, I guess. This is fun. That's funny. I'll put that on the screen. Dan said, Oakley 20-year Heaven Hill seems so long ago. That was a fun time. It was a fun time. It was the best of times, and it was definitely the worst of times. All right, what is going to be next? I don't really have any desire to taste this right now. I want to move on to some other stuff. So I'll circle back on this corporate speak. Circle back. Green River Toasted, distillery exclusive. I'll come back to this maybe in a video or a future stream. Also, I have Stag 26B up there, but I'm also going to just wait on that one. We don't need to get into Stag. I can already feel myself bitching about the quality of Stag declining. So let's go to some other fun things right now. And catch up on Super Chats. I think the next bottle is CGF. Nah. Let's do this, dude. Forgot about proof point on this is only 107. All right, let's do this. Come on now. Okay. See, that's what I was afraid of. The wax is just gonna get annihilated here. That's not as bad. All right. So I think this is 2017 Heaven Hill. So 23 years old, distilled 94. I think this is 17, so it'd be pre-fire. I know it's pre-fire. I just don't know exactly what year. So let's just taste this. This is like the second stream in a row that's happened. All right, I got to go get my corkscrew. BRB. What a fail. Man. Again. Okay. Another test. The thing about this. Let's see if this will cut easily. This wax. I want to be able to see the cork as I do this. It's kind of helpful to see because if you're going to push it in, you can just decide to stop and not push it in. Because I don't want to deal with the pushed in cork right now, which means I'd have to go upstairs and coffee filter and go through the whole process. So I'm going to cut this band of wax off around the neck of the bottle. Just so I can see what's going on here. Okay. Mike Caduce, what's up, dude? Let me get you in here. Caduce 1. Paid off my credit card today, but now I'll have $5 on it. That's a great super chat. That's good. That's good. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron.
I'm Mike.
That's Mike Caduce, everybody. Okay. Oh, man, this is soft as baby shit on this cork. That is... I don't even know if I should go straight through the center like this. Okay, I'm through, I think. I'll go a little more. A little bit of cork is probably going to fall in, but it's better to do that than to go too shallow and not get it out. I think we're golden. I just got to be patient. buddy. Come on. We got this shit. Okay. Oh, we got a big freaking floater. No! So disappointing. It's not enough to freak me out. I'll get it at the end of the stream. But what I will do right now, so this is a good time to kind of kill this off. No, I'm not going to kill this tonight, but I can pour it in a sample jar. The remainder of this, it'll be about an ounce. I can reuse this cork on here of the newer bottling. What I'll do after this is empty is I will strain into this bottle, since it already had Evan Williams 23 in it, even though it's modern, and then catch the cork on the strain out, and then I'll just strain it back into this bottle with the old cork. So that'll be the strategy. I hate stuff like this, but you got to do it. Let me just catch up on chat. This is riveting entertainment. Some all-time great analogies tonight. Suck it out with a straw. Dude, honestly, that's not a bad idea. That's a chunk that is suckable. God, it's a bad night, dude. All right, 1 second. The straw idea is a great idea. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. We don't need to get weird tonight. Let's do this. It would be so nice if that piece of cork would just come out up front. Look at the color on that stuff. Very nice. It just keeps getting better. All right. Pre-fire Evan Williams 23. Let's see. God bless America. Come on. Smells pretty good. Let me pour the. This is a 2020 bottling. It's 19 on the glass, but actually 2020 bottling if you look at the laser code. So probably not pre-fire. Actually, definitely not pre-fire if it's 2020 bottling. It's a 97 distillation. Okay. So again, reminder, if you do win the giveaway, you will get a freshly strained sample of this without me sucking the chunk of cork out with the straw. Just for you, I won't do that. Elliot, thank you for the super chat. Nader Tot. All right, let me get you in, bro. In for one. Said, hope I get a cork in the samples. Listen, that can be arranged if you win. Elliot, get you in here. In for 10. Says, put me in for 10. Thank you, dude. Gotcha, Elliot. And Mr. Nader Tot. There you go. Appreciate you guys. I know I'm behind on Venmos. I know I've not done any PayPals yet. I understand. I'll get there, guys. Leave it in for the mouthfeel. All right. So let's just do a quick comparison. Yeah, it smells like it smells like pre-fire. And the thing is, I actually really love this 2020 bottling. I had a 2024 sample of Evan Williams 23. Very underwhelming on the 2024. Haven't had a 5, haven't had a 26. I'm not even sure if they've been released in 26, but I know there was 25. People said the 25 was good. After my 24, I was a little hesitant because this 2020 was just so good. Dude, yeah, the pre-fire just. It has that, like, walnutty. Like, pre-fire Heaven Hill is still nutty, but it's not peanut shell. So it's like butterscotch and walnut and roasted almond kind of all intermingled together. And I think what's so interesting, Nutella? No, something like that. What's so interesting about dusties like this, I actually think that with a lot of dusty whiskeys, you don't get as much fruit as you do on modern whiskeys. I think these fruit notes, to me, feel more yeast-driven, and they feel yeast-driven and like the worst quality of barrels you have. This is such a generalization. I know if like Nancy Fraley was in here, she'd be like, "Shut! Like, what are you talking about?" But I feel like when you had these like really old, high-quality barrels for these dusty whiskeys, and you just don't get as many fruit notes. It's just like more butterscotchy and more rich and round, and I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad generalization. I just feel like I get so much more. I find myself with modern whiskeys talking about cherry, and you talk about all these common notes. I don't get as much of those in Dusty's. God. That'll make you just make this face, you know? God, that's good. You ever taste whiskey and you're just like, but in a good way? That's what this does. I mean, this is some... The thing is, I can't even say... Like, it's certainly unique. Pre-fire is a totally different beast from Heaven Hill. What I can't say, though, is that I love this, like, exponentially more than this other... I mean, let me... Before I say that, let me taste it. No, listen. I actually like these equally. The pre-fire is just different, and you don't get stuff like this anymore. But this new one, this has so much vanilla cream and like molasses and almost like varnish kind of notes. And it's so well done in the 2020 version of Evan Williams 23. I like them kind of equally, really. I just essentially feel like, and I am, tasting a dusty version of something and the modern version of it. Directly side by side. 1-to-1 comparison. 3 years apart. And this is the difference. It's a remarkable difference, but I think there are merits to both of these profiles. There's so much going on in the live chat right now. I'm just not even gonna touch. All right, Michael Phelps. Who is that Joe or Amy in the spreadsheet right now? I see someone's in the spreadsheet tracker that I'm working in. Michael Phelps, thank you, man. In for 4. I see someone viewing the spreadsheet currently. Oh, Amy, we'll join you. Cam, have a sample of your Evan Williams 23-107. That's this one. That is this one. It's the second bottle of this one that I've had. I just think it's a great batch. Whiskey was the first time I used the term mouthfeel and wasn't... Okay, all right. All right, what's the proof on these? No, Eric, these are 107. So a very, very good proof point. I like them both. I really do. Okay, enough talking about that. I'll just leave this pre-fire open for right now since the cork... Yeah, let's see. That's fine. A little cork can sit on there. Fun to open that tonight. All right. We'll keep it going. I think next up, we got to go here. We got to go here. It took me long enough to get this stupid thing, so I know I'm behind the 8 ball on discussing this whiskey. Everybody's got a review out already. Excuse me. Oh, Dan, you got a critical mass sample. Nice. Yeah, Dan, that was... You were in the sample packs where I just randomly pulled from the different categories, I think. So, yeah, I think that's right. And I think critical mass, there was only one critical mass sample. So you were the only person that had the critical mass sample. Oh, Joe is in the studio. I think Joe is jumping in here to help out with the stream. That's awesome because I have so many Venmo Super Chats to get to. How are we doing on Super Chats, actually? Oh, my goodness. Okay. Sheesh, guys. Thank you so much. Joe said, I'm here, baby. Let's go. Thank you, Joe. All right, Wild Turkey. Archives. No introduction needed. People can complain. Oh, look at that, dude. Joe with the freaking banner. There were complaints about this tube. Why is it not the cheesy gold foil? You know, this tube is sick. And then you get the cheesy gold foil thing on the inside. This is just... Oh, the marketing on this is so good. I don't care 89% of the time about the packaging a whiskey comes in. But when it comes in something like that, and honestly, something like this, Holy shit. I mean, just beautiful. That's when it matters. It only matters on the top 11% of bottles or whatever. When it's this right here for the 1792, where the glue breaks off and the freaking, you don't need this box, you know? This is trash. This is actually like literally trash. And then you get something like this, and you get something. This is okay, the Quintessence. This is freaking gorgeous. It's awesome. I'm excited. Bruce is going to be at our turkey pick, at our Russell's pick in October. I'm so excited. Is Joe drummer boy management? No, not yet. That's not my call. That's my manager's call, Adam. If you were to pick one proof to drink the rest of your life, what would it be? Man. Honestly, there's something about 107. I probably have to bump it a little bit. I'd say like 118. 118 is such a great proof. I would like people that say hazmat, you guys can keep that stuff. I love picking hazmat. I love drinking them at the end of a night, every once in a while, sharing with friends. But hazmat is just like not a tenable proof. Joe, I'm part of the talent being managed. That's good. 115, 120. Yeah, I think that range. I think as we continue to all collectively drink more and more whiskey, I think we all kind of realize that there is that sweet spot. That's why I think Bardstown Discovery 3, I thought that was kind of at a nice proof, you know? I think that might have only been 110. Disco 4 maybe was 115 or vice versa, but those were actually at really solid proofs. Reverse people. Sorry, Joe, I just took your job, dude. I'm sorry. I forgot you were here. 5 seconds after calling your name out. Calling your name out. I see your tube is as big as mine. Now let's see. Okay, well, didn't read that. Didn't screen that comment. Thank you, reverse people. All right, Joe is now on the hook for the spreadsheet and the things in the live chat. He will put those on the screen. All right, turkey gold foil, beautiful kind of, you know, dark color on this. 16 years old, 120 proof. It was proofed down apparently from hazmat, non-chill filtered. Okay, nose for me. It's like an undeniable old turkey vibe that is most closely associated for me with Beacon. Not really reminiscent of Russell's 15 for me on the nose. We could pull those out and do comparisons. I probably won't do that tonight. I'll probably save that for like a video or one of those like Tuesday, Wednesday pop-up blind flights. I might do something like that. But to me, it's most closely associated with Beacon, with less of like the berry. There's like some blueberry, blackberry notes in Beacon. Less of those notes and more of a funky, like, I don't want to say butterscotch. I know that's what they were going for with this. Like they were going for that old school cheesy gold foil-esque, but in a modern version of it profile. This does have some like modern butterscotch, not dusty butterscotch. You can tell it's trying to get as close to, you know, dusty butterscotch as you can nowadays. Yeah, I think that's fair. I just think like this was my complaint on this before, and this is a fresh crack, not a lot of air in here. I've tasted this once before with Joe W from the Discord, if anyone's in Discord. He came over to the house, he was driving back home, passing through. I just felt like same complaint as I had with Heaven Hill 22, but that was spice. This was ethanol. I think this has a little too much ethanol for the profile. It's a very picky comment. But when I hear people saying like this is the ultimate bourbon, which a lot of people that got the media samples said that. This is the ultimate bourbon, you know, it's gonna blow Russell's 15 out of the water. You heard a lot of that. I think there is a little disproportionate amount of ethanol for the profile. For 120 proof, it's got the ethanol of a 132 proof or something. That's a picky comment. You got to be picky at this price point. So $400 SRP, $800 secondary. However, Smells freaking good. I'm just being picky. And I mean, it tastes great. It tastes phenomenal. I don't want to judge it too much on the first sip. Let my palate acclimate. It's the highest proof I've had so far this evening. Coming off a 107, a basically dusty pre-fire 107, which is even kind of like a softer 107 than a modern 107. But yeah, I think where this suffers the most for me, actually, when I have this little complaint about the ethanol or whatever on here, that is mostly a nose complaint for me. The palate, not as much of an issue. Yeah, it's outstanding whiskey. It really is. And putting it in a blind flat with Russell's 15 and Beacon is just an embarrassment of riches at that point. It's like, yeah, I'm not telling you to not compare them and to not be picky about them. I'm going to do that. But what I am saying is, like, keep that in perspective, that you are comparing what, in my mind, are whiskeys that are in a 93 to 95 point range between the three, and it's splitting hairs in an overall sense. For the nerds, we do split those hairs, and it's fun to do that. But in the grand scheme of things, like, it's all really good whiskey. My criticism, even now, a couple sips in, go back to the nose, my criticism stands. I think the nose has a little too much ethanol for me to say that this is as good as the palate. One other thing, it's a little front palate heavy. Again, I'm looking for things to critique. That sip, lots of nutmeg, interestingly. Like, yeah, almost like a dirty chai on that sip. The thing that's great though is like this imitation, modern imitating dusty butterscotch note builds and builds from sip to sip on the palate. So I feel like I'm just like layering on my tongue right now all this kind of funky butterscotch that I love. So much so, that's what I was gonna say. I think it's a little front palate heavy. I don't feel like there's a huge like richness on my tongue as it rolls back. Maybe that's again, it's a small complaint in the grand scheme. Yeah, it misses a little part of the back of my tongue on the sides. It's front tongue heavy, if that means anything to you. Very grapey now. Starting to really pick up on this like turkey grape note. So, yeah, really good whiskey. Top 10 of the year, 100%. Will it be top 5? Maybe. It depends on what you are putting in that conversation. But definitely, I think top 10 of the year. Beacon for me did really well last year. I don't know where this is going to land in a blind for me. I think if I had to make a guess, I'd say Russell's 15 wins the blind, Beacon gets second, and this gets third. And that's considering the nose as a really big part of the experience and preferred profile, which I love that Russell's 15 profile, even at the lower proof. I just think this one for me, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see. How does oak come across? I mean, it's old, it's funky, it's leathery. There's cola in here too. I mean, there's a lot going on. I would be so curious, like, what their tasting notes do they give them on the tube, or no? I don't. Maybe on the bottle. No, I don't think they actually give tasting notes on here. That's kind of cool. Surgeon General warning. I kind of like that. No tasting notes. That's fun. Yeah. I'd have to look it up to see what their tasting notes were. Yeah. So if you win the giveaway tonight, taste for yourself, draw your own conclusions. I think it's an outstanding whiskey. It's kind of the same thing for me with Heaven Hill 22. It's like I just have this one little complaint, but you got to split hairs at that price point. Think the first 10 others you had tonight could be messing with your palate? No, I think my palate's like pretty on right now. I can usually tell if it's getting weird. I feel very on right now, and my saturation level is low. I've been taking very small sips. All right. All right, 49er fan Matt. Got to try Cheesy Gold Foil over the weekend in a blind against Turkey Decades and 22 GTS. Came in a disappointingly distant number 2. So what was number 1? I'd have to imagine just looking at those proof points and profiles. Maybe you're a 22 GTS person. Cheesy Gold and then Decades in 3rd. Is that what happened? Can you compare to the 45th Russells? Not right now. Still have a lot to get through. I will say the 45th Russells, not going to touch the CGF. It's a great bottle. I love the 45th Russells. It's not nearly the same as Russell's batch 1 through 3, Russell's 13. Those were different animals. But I think, honestly, like the sweet spot of Russell's 13 moving forward, if it can be like this 45th release, I think that's a great profile for them to aim towards. The price is just, I'd love to see it at 150. From a legacy, I'd love to see a 13-year age statement from a legacy at 150. I'm not saying it's not a $200 whiskey. I just think, on paper. For me, it's the best I've had in quite some time. Crushed William Heaven Hill 19. That's an interesting take. But it also shows me that you are correct. You are a big turkey fan, Also, it's maybe a little more rounded out overall. Like the William Heaven Hill 19 is just full steam ahead on your palate. How does CGF compare to Fire Brigade? Man, those are just two totally different animals. Fire Brigade, the same kind of drinker. Like if you have a preferred profile of one of those, the other one is not going to hit it for you, I like them both for very different reasons. GTS 22-1, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So anybody that goes from here and sees that I criticized CGF, please don't take it upon yourself to go to the next person live stream and say, "Oh, Cam said CGF sucks balls." I love when I see the telephone game in action on WhiskeyTube. It always cracks me up. I've said this before. It's like you see people in someone else's live chat going, "Dude, Cam said such and such is god-awful whiskey." And I'm like, when the fuck did I say that? I gave one, small critique on it, and someone's like, "Cam said it's terrible." No, it's great whiskey. Walker, what's up, dude? Yeah. And Walker, thanks again for the super chat, man. Yeah, everybody in here. It's like 250 people. Pretty crazy. Please hit that like button, guys. We have a lot to get through still. I'm trying to think where to go exactly from here. Besides super chats, can we veer off for just a quick second, because I think this is probably the time. And by the way, Walker, I'd love to know if you've tried this. Just to quickly jump down to 80 proof, because I said I was going to open this tonight. Unicorn Auctions win. Grand Marnier Quintessence. This is Kenny Mills' fault from the Mashup podcast. I just want to crack it because this is going to go in the sample packs. I hope it is as good as I remember. I hope. Man, even the plastic on this is high quality. So look at this. I hope I don't break this freaking cork. Oh, came out pretty easy. Ooh, buddy. That smells good. I'm going to put this in my party bus. This is from our Augusta pick, I don't know, a year ago or something. The party bus Glen, or Stolzle. Color doesn't matter on this. There's literally orange liqueur blended in with old cognac. Little disappointment there on the cork. I mean, it's heavy. It just sits down in, but it doesn't really seal. There's a little play there. That's okay. it's sugary. It's fine. Okay. Out of a whiskey glass. Oh my God, it smells so good. I mean, listen, you gotta like orange. It is fragrant, slightly floral, orange liqueur notes, but there is this backbone behind everything of just rich, like, I know it's cognac, but you don't really smell it as cognac in this because of that orange liqueur. This is crazy. This is ultimate dessert pour for something. Oh my God. Oh, that's so freaking good. Oh, that does for me, in a sweet way, what Chartreuse VEP, the yellow bottle, does for me in an herbal way. It's like two sides of the same coin, because the proofs are pretty close. The yellow is the lower proof of the VEPs. The green is the higher proof. Get this shit away from me, dude. This is diabetes in a bottle. It's in a great way. Ooh, so good. I bet you could mix a crazy cocktail with this. Also, don't do that. The price is absurd. I think I got this on Unicorn. Jen says what it cost. I think I paid, like, after fees on Unicorn, $12.50 for this. So I am not encouraging you to do that. Is this worth $12.50? Not even a chance. But it was something that I just have had stuck in my mind for many, many months. Maybe even a year at this point since hanging with Kenny. So, oh, dude, it is so good. But it's like sugar thick, because it is. Yo. We're going to move on. We're going to move on. I can't wait to see. If you win a sample pack tonight, email me back when you try this. Please. That's so cool. It is syrupy, though, in a sugar way. So 3 more tonight. I think 3 more tonight, and then we're good. So I will have to power through during these next 3 to really get Super Chats caught up. And yeah, let me get caught up real quick, and then we'll kind of evaluate where we're at. I said we're gonna do 2 sample packs. I always end up adding to that. I'm always like, let me just keep it compact this evening, and then it always ends up being like, let's do 3, let's do 4. So, dude, that's a great. Listen, fun stuff. Let's go here. I will actually go ahead and pour out the Anthology with this. So pause for Anthology reveal. Pause for Anthology reveal. Are we deep in the cup? Honest to God, not really. As far as live streams go, this is about as sober as I've ever been 2 hours into a live stream. Yeah, so box on this, you guys can see. I mean, you've probably maybe seen reviews. I'm not sure if reviews of this have come out yet or not. It's fairly early. There is like a drawer down here that opens up, and then this is a piece of cypress from, I think, like the old fermenters they used to have or something. So it's a little like tribute to those. This would have been fermented in those, this distillate. This is a 21-year OBSF. A lot of people are like, I don't like the F recipe, or the F yeast strain. Yeah, I get it. But the older you go with Four Roses, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think the recipe matters less. I think you really start getting into so much oak on the whiskey itself that, yes, you could say, like, all right, I get the mint aspect of the F on this. Okay. I'm not going to disagree, but I'm going to say that if you had it blind, you wouldn't know it's an F. You might not even know it's Four Roses because, I mean, you can already see I put a little dent in this thing. This is something. Jason P, thank you for the super chat. Hey, did I miss Claren's super chat? I'm scrolling up here. Did I miss Claren Super Chat? Oh, I did. Sorry, Claren. I, too, am a professional percussionist. Nipple Gong Gang, a.k.a. Your Immunity representing. Nipple Gong is a real instrument, by the way. I don't want anybody to think that Matt's making this up. Nipple Gong, real instrument. Go, Joe, go, in for 2. Thank you, Mitch. I missed this earlier, too, man. If Joe put it on the screen, I was too busy yapping. Thank you, guys, for those. And then we got Jason P. in for 4. Cheers. Cheers, man. Dude, yeah, Mike, the box is sick. It really is. It's very well done. In the front badge on the box, like everything about it is very nice. The side here says 4 Roses. You can see it, like, kind of vaguely see that. And then on this, it's because it's all, metallic. Anthology is an annual storytelling experience. It captures the essence of 4 Roses through a curated collection of narratives. Each year unveils a new chapter, spotlighting a defining moment in our bourbon's rich history. This evolving series honors the legacy of 4 Roses, celebrating it alongside the highly anticipated release of our 21-year bourbon. The thing that a lot of people don't know about this is that these are single barrels. I thought Anthology was going to be a batch. This is 1,116 bottles, so very few bottles actually in the grand scheme of things. That's like, that's like 40 bottles per state, basically. That's not exactly how it's distributed because this was a distillery-only thing. But the proofs on these range from like 106 to 125. I wasn't going to beeline for the highest proof immediately. I saw a 125 pop up, and I was like, I assume that's the highest. The asks were a lot more for that. I still paid quite a bit of money. I think I paid $12.50 for this bottle. It's a 500 SRP, but I got the 124.4. So I think it's the second highest proof, whatever. But what I was trying to avoid was like a 105 proof or something, because it's really tough to spend that money on a whiskey that low of proof that's a single barrel when you know that the other proofs are out there. So we got that at 124.4 proof, and then at 124.2 proof, we have this 15-year. So it's 15-year Barton and then 21-year Roses. So I'll start with the Barton, and then we'll go to the Roses. And I am going to blaze through these damn super chats now on my phone as Joe catches me up here. Nick, thank you. Great live. Put me in for 2 more. Diabetes. Thank you, man. And I have to pick back up in Venmo at Jacob Chung, which is about 15 people away from being caught up. Garrett said Joe for Prez. I agree. Thank you, Joe. All right, Jacob Chung is in for 4. Says no need to read live, and I will not read the rest of it. Jacob, thank you. In for 4. And if Joe misspells any of these in the spreadsheet, that's because I'm speaking and he's spelling from me. So if you see your name, please don't be offended if it's spelled insanely, because sometimes I say something, I go back and listen to how I said it, and I was like, yeah, there's no way Joe was going to get that. Andrew Stratner, first test, Joe, in for 2, says cheers, Cam. Thank you, Andrew. Terry Powers in for 1, says it only takes 1. True in so many instances. All right, I'm not going to ask about them instances, Terry. Andrew Stratner. Yeah, Joe got close, Andrew. He got close. I mean, he really spelled exactly how I said that. J-Dub in for 10, dude. Says great live. Got to get in on this. Cheers. Thank you, J-Dub. Thanks for the support. Thank you all for the support. Oh, Joe edited Stratner. Still not it, but pretty close. Okay, we're having fun. Mike Conklin in for 5 said here for that 15-year Barton sample. Perfect timing, Mike. Yeah. Okay. Ben Arrington, Arrington, in for 5 says put me in for 5. Cheers. Thanks, Ben. The Barton sample to me on the nose, it's very spicy. For 124 proof, pretty spicy on the nose. But it's a cherry cola spice. And this is what we know and love Barton for, especially in the 2020 era Barton. Nowadays, I don't want to say it's changed. I mean, the single barrels we saw from NDPs, very, very hot. Yes, cherry cola, but they were just at a proof point that some of them just drank like fire. And we picked some of those, like, don't get me wrong. But this is just cherry cola. There's almost a little melon component to it. But it's not in like a buff turkey, abrasively bright way. It's just another dimension, like grapefruit or melon or something. Yeah. I think it's going to be a little more obvious for me on the nose after I get on the palate. Oh my freaking... The palate is out of this world good. It touches your tongue. It's like a rocket ship. It just accelerates. And it's just flavor. I mean, the fact that this right now, I don't know if there's going to be any distributed in the future, but right now it's travel exclusive only, is a shame. Because this is the best 1792 product that has ever existed by leaps and bounds. I mean, it's excellent. It's vanilla. It's so creamy, vanilla, mouth coating. There's a little like bittersweet aspect to it. I love when you get into a higher age statement, and you start to get that bittersweetness. I mean, the interplay on this is just incredible. It really is. Wow. Brenton Martindale says, drink more water. I will. Honestly, this is not like, oh, I'm so drunk. I'm just saying I'm good. I am honestly in pretty good shape. I'm just having a lot of fun. I'm just having fun tonight. It's been a crazy day. So I was just ready to have a little fun. You'll be able to tell in about 5 more pours that I would be starting to fall off, Michael Phelps, in for another one. Found another 5 in the couch. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Lucky 714, your proprietor, was Barton, similar to that. This has more overall flavor than those So Lucky 14, a lot of those bottlings, I actually found the 14s to be a little bit better than the 15s, at least the ones that I tried. And I literally had 14 bottles of, if you guys remember the Breaking Bourbon review of Lucky 714 Barrel 72, I had 14 bottles of that at one time. I ended up selling them off. I was like, why the fuck did I do this? This is overkill. But it was one of my favorite single barrels. It was really the time that I started to explore single barrels, whether it was a store pick or not. And I latched onto that one after that review. I found it so good. I probably tried 16 other single barrels of that Lucky 14 stuff. That was my favorite. I stocked up, realized I'm out like $4,000 plus. Sell these back. Why am I hoarding these things? In hindsight, I wish I still had them, but a lot of those Lucky 14s had a lot going on, but I think the density on this 15-year, especially considering the fact that like they are using their own stocks and they have access to their best barrels to do this, and I think whoever blended this did a fucking phenomenal job. I really do. I mean, there's even a note that I've never even thought about in this bottle. There is a brown butter note to this. It is just all over the place in so many ways. And I would have never picked that up on the nose first. I have to get that on the palate, get my olfactory system acclimated to it. But this is just freaking awesome. And it's so nice that it's not 140 proof like every pick that we've all done in the last year of this stuff. It is so nice to taste this at 124 and have it feel more approachable and so full of flavor. Brown butter like the turkey pick? Yeah, but in like a way more advanced way. Way more advanced. All right, I gotta just like grab a couple of these super chats. Maybe just one more actually. From CNick 3071. Cheers, Cam. New here. Love the content. Put me in for 4. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Joe's got you in. All right, Joe, let me grab a few more of these. Todd Miles with a Y. In for 1, said super chat sampler, love the channel. Thank you, Todd. Aaron Trondle, avoiding the YouTube commission. Cheers, my friend. He's in for 4. Aaron Trondle in for 4. Thanks, Aaron. Dude Miles, let's go, dude, Joe. Dude Miles. Todd's in for 1. Anthony Allegro, nice last name, Anthony. Anthony Allegro in for 4, said cheers. And we got a couple big ones coming up. Oh, Jason Zell. Jason Zell, 2 different $50 super chats, so he is in for 20 entries total. Thank you, Jason. Cheers to that, man. Little sip of Barton 15. Which is, I mean, God. This is one of the best whiskeys of the year. It really is. Is it going to beat Heaven Hill 22? Tough, you know. I think a lot of people are going to pick that 22 over this. Unless you're a Barton person. Like, this has a legitimate case. If you're a Barton person, this has a legitimate case to beat that Heaven Hill for you. Top 10 of the year. Top 10, probably even higher than 10, you know, for this one. Even in a blind flight, I think it's going to do so well. Next up, Toshi. Mr. Toshi Bake. In for 20 also. Toshi, thanks, dude. He said, hope all is good with the family and the baby. Thanks, man. Toshi's always dropping bombs like that. So is Jason and Walker and, man. Let me grab like 5 more in a row. Wow, we have a couple big ones coming up too, man. Bobby Holton said, need that CGF. I'm going to start nosing this Anthology, guys. Reminder, this is 124.4 proof. 20. The noses. Incredible. Bobby Holton is in for 2, says need that CGF. And then we've got Andrew Parrott. Andrew Parrott is in for 3, said, cheers. Have you ranked your top turkey offerings yet? Recent. Goldfoil C&E, Russell's 15. Not yet, Andrew, but I'm going to get to that. Either on a live stream pop-up or maybe in a video. I'm not sure yet. Lawrence Chang. Lawrence Chang in for 1, said, thoughts on Old Fitz 11, Fall 25. I would just skip it. I don't think I've tried the 11 Fall 2025. Wait. No, I have. Is that the VVS 11? If that's the VVS 11 for 210, it's still a no. Still a no. Guy C. Guy Citarella in for 20 entries. Thank you, Guy. Said, cheers, man. Hope you're doing well. Sipping on some Regicide. That's a great one. Thanks for sipping that, Guy. Appreciate it, man. I know Regicide was a little divisive for certain people, depending on what you wanted out of those Bartons, but dude, good to see your name popping up. Thanks, Guy. And let's do 2 more real quick, and then we only have 5 more to catch up. Next one is James Preston. Is in for 8. Thank you, James. And last but not least, out of this round, before the final 5 in a little bit, is Wyatt. Wyatt T. 20 entries. You guys are crazy. I'm going to have to add some stuff to this giveaway tonight. I mean, this is insane. It really is. Wyatt T is in for 20 entries. Thank you, man. All right, let's and I'll check PayPal in a sec, but holy crap. I'm a little, it's one of those overwhelmed moments. Sorry, Joe. Dalton said had some GFE tonight. What's GFE? But I did see they scratched the Louisville drop of that 4 Roses. I thought that was kind of shitty to do at the last minute. I understand why they did it, but I didn't. You don't talk about it and then go back on it. I didn't like that. Gold foil edition. Is that what you mean? Yeah. I forgot about the E. Regicide owns, says Slad. Love it. Did you end up getting any hiccup cures for your daughter, ISO? Dude, no. The hiccups are pervasive. I mean, they just continue. Yeah, it's travel exclusive only. I don't know if it's going to drop otherwise. All right, Joe, let's go to the Anthology. Thank you, dude. Look at that. That's crazy. Joe killed it. The nose on Anthology it's serious. It's just... And they're single barrels. I'll never understand why they didn't batch this release. Makes no sense. 1,100 bottles, and we have a smattering of single barrels out there. I don't get it. It's a lot of vastly different experiences out there. Probably for the best, though, because a lot of the stuff they've been blending recently has been absolutely terrible from 4 Roses. No offense. Just one person's opinion. Sam from Queens. What's up, Sam? Says, friend of the channel, in for 4. Thanks, Sam. So the Anthology on the nose. This is what's going on. This is like... 4 Roses at a high age is so different than pretty much any other distillate at this age. Because when you have Heaven Hill and you have Beam, those two lean hard into like wood varnish notes and antique oak. And there might be a little nuttiness. It really depends on the barrel selection. you have Buffalo Trace. When it gets to a high age, it just gets sweeter and sweeter. It develops a certain leather quality, actually, which is interesting for Buffalo Trace. But you never really get like that heavy, funky oak. That doesn't exist. You just get deeper, richer fruit notes. Typically, when you have super high age Buffalo Trace, like OFC, Double Eagle, they've then proofed that stuff down, abysmally to 90 or 100 or whatever. Then you lose a lot of what's actually probably going on with that whiskey. Unfortunate, but that's what happens with high age Buffalo Trace. Barton gets super tannic with high age Barton a lot of the time. This 15-year completely avoids that, which is nice. So this is like what's going on with these other distilleries. With Four Roses, the whiskey's just aged gentler. I think, maybe some of it's because it's a one-story rickhouse that they're using, and you have the tiers, which are the barrels stacked on top of each other. But you're not like going to a sixth floor for these whiskeys, and you're not developing that incredibly dense oak presence. You're just doing it in the context of one floor with 6 barrels stacked. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the barrels themselves. Maybe it's the distillate handling it differently, the yeast. I don't know. But what you get with Four Roses at this age, it does show the age in one way, which for me, in this one, is heavy clove, and it actually has a large amount of leather coming out of the nose. Almost 18-year Barton-esque leather from the single barrels that happened last year. So it smells like it's going to have a little tannin to it. And it smells like there's a lot of clove and there's a lot of brown sugar. Which, those aren't things you really associate with Four Roses either, but that's what the age is giving. Then, the more typical Four Roses note is just the wildest, specifically Luxardo cherry note of all time on the nose for this. There is a lift. And so if you tell me that the lift on the nose is the F yeast strain, I would believe you on that. Is it contributing for me like an overwhelming mintiness? No, but there is a lift. All right, let's take a sip. Very baked peach. It was all Luxardo cherry on the nose. God bless. I mean, the leather in the finish is crazy. It is tannic. It's a tannic whiskey. And this is one of the higher proofs. Tier 5, I think. Tier 5. So the palate, or the nose, was all Luxardo cherry on the fruit side of things. The palate is heavy baked peach and Luxardo cherry together. And the baked peach is like so prevalent. The drinking experience of this, it's a single barrel. Keep that in mind. Nobody blended into this to try to like perfect it and round out the different things. So it's a single barrel experience, which usually means that there's a flaw or two in what's presented. That's just how it works. We pick single barrels, and we often pick them because 85% of them is just killer, and it does something so well. And then there's a little something that a blend could fix, but you don't have that luxury. Same thing here. I mean, it's just, for me, like, the nose is immaculate. The palate, there's a little like lull somewhere. The roller coaster ride of the palate has a few too many directions for me, or like maybe a soft spot somewhere along the lines. Otherwise, I mean, the profile on this is fucking awesome. Like, this is great whiskey. Some people might even say it's special whiskey. But it's, I would say, probably the best Four Roses I've ever had. I have a 16-year 2024 Father's Day over there at a high proof. Those 24 Father's Days were incredible. 25 Father's Days, no. The Mother's Day from this year, fine. I mean, it was just fine. This is really damn good. Yeah, and there's a little floral component too. It's so good. It's so good. I don't know how all the proofs are going to be, but I mean that's one of the best things of the year. So it's fun. Like this live stream covering the CGF, which I think is lower than this. I don't think it's as good as this. The Barton 15, probably not as good as this either. And then you got this anthology, like tasting these things all together. This is a really nice cross section of some of the top whiskeys of the year. Bullet 20 is going to be up there too. What else is going to be up there? I don't know. Heaven Hill 22 for sure. Stitzel 31, okay, but that's, not even totally fair, to be honest with you. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the stuff we're looking at this year so far. Can you rate the top 3 whiskeys on this table? It's Anthology, top. The Evan Williams 23, I mean... You know what the real hard question is? Whether I like the Barton 15 or the CGF more. Very different whiskeys. Maybe a question for another day. Let's just say... Careful. Let's exclude this. It's Anthology Barton Turkey. Easy. Mike Cadu says, Mother's Day was better than everyone says it was. My barrel is trash. But the barrel that Joe brought to my house the same night that I tried CGF was just so much better. It was so much better. So barrel selection also is a thing at Four Roses that I just don't feel confident in. Four Roses is so hit or miss, mostly miss. Quality control's not great. Blending's not great. It's like, I honestly think they are probably correct to continue doing single barrel releases because they're just missing with the blends. But with the single barrels, just weed out the bad ones, please. Please. Considering they are planning to do several chapters of these, do you think they will all continue demand? Yeah, this secondary price tag, $900 to $1,300. Some people asking even more for the highest proof of this year's anthology. I don't know. I think probably yes. If they keep the SRP this high, if the bottle counts stay around 1,000. Truthfully, if this was a Heaven Hill bottling and the bottle count was 1,000, it'd be a high price tag. It just would. William Heaven Hill 19 was like not 2,000 bottles. It was like a little less than 2,000, I think. And that's $1,900. So I think because this is roses, it's underrated, but also probably for good reason a lot of the time. It's staying a little lower for the bottle count and the age statement. So I would say, yeah, they probably stick around that secondary price tag. Oh, here we go. Cam. Okay, let me take a picture of this. Try Mommy's Bliss Gripe Water. Is that right? I'll take a picture. Show that to Sarah tomorrow. Figure that out. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Joe, let's grab the last 5 Venmo Super Chats before we go to the PayPal, which usually is not that much. Kyle Farr, Farr, is in for 5. Says, cheers, brother. Thank you, man. Cody B is in for 6. Said, did you get my super chat? Cody B. Is that a super chat on the stream, dude? If you're still here, Cody, I don't know if you're trolling me or if that was about the one that you just gave for 30. Let me know, please. Ryan D said, in for 1. So Ryan's got 1 entry. And then we have a friggin' heavy hitter here. Oh, that was a joke. Okay, thanks, Cody. Sorry, I got concerned. We have 2 more here at Venmo, and then we're caught up. Andrew Kim, in for 20. Cheers and congrats to a fellow girl dad. Andrew, thank you, man. Take a sip of Anthology. I really appreciate that. $100 super chat is crazy. Whenever you see that and you're like, you guys are crazy. Thank you so much. Incredible. What Mother's Day barrel did you not like? Let me find it very quickly. It is barrel 3I. Barrel 66 3I at 57.7. I mean, come on. No. I don't remember the one that I liked. There were 2 others. I think maybe B was one of them. Maybe J or K. One of those was awesome. Preach for the gripe water. Okay, so this is a thing. Also, highly recommend taking her to a chiropractor. It works. All right. Good info, guys. Thank you. Mike Caduce, A-tier YouTuber.
And I'm Mike.
What's up, Mike? And Drums and Drams, C-tier YouTuber. How much difference do you think there is between each Anthology variant worth getting a second bottle? I'm not going to buy a second bottle just because the price tag is so restrictive on secondary. I would love to like get a sample or two of maybe 107 or whatever proof at the low end, maybe 115 in the middle, and then mine at 124. I can't help but wonder what that 125 highest proof is like, but I would not base a review on that. In my mind, it's not even that fair to base a review on the second highest proof, which is this one. And I think I'll be sure to say that in the review, like, hey, this is a single barrel, but it's at that top end, and most of these are living in that 115 range. So it is probably more responsible for me this year to throw like a middle range proof one of these in at the end of the year, but I just can't see myself springing. I don't want to spend another $1,000 on one of those, you know? Although, do I think this whiskey is worth $12.50? I don't know, but I mean, it's kind of close. I mean, it's good. Like, yeah, I could see this. I hate to say that this is palatable at $800, but the SRP is $500. It's like palatable at $800. $12.50, second highest proof. I'm not even mad that I spent that money. I think it's an outstanding whiskey. 4 figures is like a big turning point to spend on a bottle. I understand that. And again, very spoiled with the channel, but I'd have to like think of other $1,200 bottles to put this next to. I think it's outstanding. Let's see. Walker said my barrel was 2050. OBSV Walker, what were you talking about here? Oh, hang on. I've disliked all 4 Roses LE since 19. Agreed. You need to get a bottle this year's Father's Day. This year's Father's Day. Oh, I didn't get that. It would make sense for me to have that. Actually, Madeline was born on Father's Day. To compare to Anthology, I was just sent samples of Father's Day 24 to 26. I think the 26 is fire. So that's what you were talking about. Okay, I might have to track this down. I think some local guys went down and grabbed a bunch, so maybe I can twist someone's arm. Plush Mike, thank you for the super chat. Interesting hearing your take on Anthology in contrast to Jason C's. Yeah, but Jason, keep in mind, these are single barrels, and Jason had a much lower proof single barrel than I did. He didn't see my comment last night in the stream, but I was like, hey man, if you want a higher proof sample, let's trade samples. Because I think he would taste this and go, oh shit. Like, this is serious. Because it is. It really is. Next to this Barton, Barton's great. The Roses is just on a even a different level. Palette not as cohesive on the Roses. I think the Barton palette is so well blended, but the Roses just has the profile of a 21-year 4 Roses, which is so different than what anybody can really say that they're used to. Last super chat here in Venmo, Joe, is from Eric Brewer, Eric with a K, in for 4. Said, from one new dad to another. Cheers. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that, Eric. So now I need to just check. That was like the big one everyone sends to that Venmo. I want to check my personal Venmo here. Okay. Another Eric with a K, Eric F, who's been hanging out in the live stream tonight. In for 2, says pick me. Nice. And then Joe, you can grab this one. Jason H is in for 4. Thank you, Jason. Now we'll just check PayPal. How are we doing overall on this stuff? Okay. Hey, we're going to close the entries in 5 minutes at 11:45 Eastern. We'll close it at 11:45 Eastern. I'm not encouraging you to get in. I'm just saying if you want to get in, this would be the time. We'll add a couple things in there. Nobody in the personal PayPal, which is nice. And then we'll go to the business PayPal and check. Oh, we have a couple in here. Okay, I got this one, Joe. Sorry. Conrad Davenport with an extra Q. Oh. Sorry, Joe. Did I just step on you? I did. That was my caduce. Dude, I'm sorry. Get caduce in there. I'll just read these off to you, Joe. Conrad Davenport's got 4 entries. Tony D has 10 entries. Thank you, Tony. I don't think there's a comment attached to this. Thank you, Tony, and for 10 entries. And then John Hassler is in for 5. Says cheers. Thank you, John. So I think we're caught up, guys. I think we're all caught up. Adam, I'm looking at the picture. That is amazing. That is amazing, dude. Absolutely awesome. All right, so yeah, if you want to get in, we'll go to 11:45. We're going to add something in there at the end. But we're going to close the giveaway entries at 11:45. 2 is twice as good. Thank you, Terry, man. Terry time. There we go. Credit card is going to be maxed again. All right, so let's do, I think this is the last pour of the night, honestly. The A. Smith Bowman Batch 5. I think this is going to be it. I can't believe we still have 200 people in here tonight. It's crazy. Thank you, guys. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Subscribe if you haven't already. All that good YouTube stuff. It's been a fun stream. Really. Really fun. We've got Mr. Alan Maloney, Al M, in for 4, Joe. Says diaper fun. Thank you, Al. All right, A. Smith Bowman Batch 5. 137.6 proof, 10 years old. My problem with last year's release was it just was super, super hot. This is also pretty hot, you know? It is a 10 proof point jump, maybe actually 13 proof point jump over these last 2, but it just comes with so much less density and aroma on the nose, and it's just, it's just so ethanol and cinnamon, you know? It's a $100 bottle. At $100, you can't really fault this for being what it is. It's super, super rough whiskey, especially on the nose right now. But at $100, it's like, you know, 10-year, basically Buffalo Trace, redistilled, aged in Virginia. Wow, oh God. It's like offensively spicy. I think the second sip will be better, but just that first sip, even I'm coming off of 124. It is hot, man. Not as hot as last year, but there's a little more something going on here than last year, but GKM says in for 2. Thank you. Appreciate that. How was the birth year Macallan? Actually haven't opened it yet. I'm going to open that with Sarah. So Sarah's not breastfeeding. So she can actually have some whiskey now. So we're going to open that birth year Macallan together. I think that's probably the only bottle in this house that's not open now. All my backups I have opens of. I think that's right. Because I opened the Eagle Thief and something else. Yeah, so that'll be fun. Listen, A. Smith Bowman Batch 5, if you find it for 100, fine. I wouldn't pay secondary. I'm kind of pissed that I caved and I paid secondary. I didn't even want to. But I was like, I should have this. I should put a review out of this and be able to like say that I tasted it. Just to be informed this year. I think once Stag, like George C. Stag comes out in the fall, Is this going to be a Stag alternative? Yes, probably. Is it going to be as good as Stag? Probably not. But if Stag is the same quality as last year's, which I freaking hated. I did not like last year's George T. Stag. Just hot for the sake of being hot, just like the Bowman. Then yeah, like this would be an alternative to that, but still that Stag is going to be a little bit better. But if you're talking about maybe finding this at 100 SRP and you have to pay secondary for the Stag, then obviously the choice is to buy the Bowman. I just don't like this Bowman. I'm kind of out on these Bowman cask strengths. Is it the triple distillation stripping so much out of the whiskey that it's extremely ethanol forward? Maybe, actually. Is it low quality casks? Maybe that too. I don't know. I'm not sure what the deal is. At 100, it's a buy, so you can flip it. Agreed. Like, just trade it away. Trade it away. Thomas Gallagher says, pick me. In for 2. Thanks, man. Hey, giveaway is cut off. I'm going to kill the banner now. Giveaway is cut off. So now we can start adding fun things for the people that participated. We have over 400 entries in tonight's giveaway, so that's pretty crazy. It's Greg McDonald. Cam, is Booker's Lumberyard part of the sample pack? No, not quite. It's going to be better than that. Did you froth the bottle? They need to lower the barrel entry proof. That would, in the case of a triple distillation and maybe low quality barrels, that would probably help. All right, I just want to make sure I have not missed anybody here on my end. We are cut off. Unless, obviously, some people are behind. They sneak in right at the last minute before the drawing. If the drawing's already happened, I'll roll them over to a next giveaway or something. I didn't even plan on doing a stream tonight, let alone a giveaway, but here we are. And I'm excited. There just ended up being so much whiskey. It's like, whenever I get a bunch of new epic bottles, and some not so epic, it is nice to share these. Make sure I'm good here. Over 400 equals Blade and Boat 30 bottle chug for me. And next in verse, and says Joe, yeah, let's do it, dude. JD Stat says, I'm new to the channel, but I like Drums and Drams. He calls a ball and a strike a strike. Great, trustworthy reviews. Thank you, man. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate that. All right, so we're going to have 3 winners for the sample pack. We're going to do a third sample pack. And then... we'll just give away one of these. Giveaways are closed. Closed. Do not super chat now for this. I'm gonna give one of these away. So let's like mix it up a little bit. Top 3 winners get the sample pack, and then the 4th winner will get this. And that's fun, you know? That's pretty fun. So, okay, there we go. Fun. That is funny, Slad. There's going to be A. Smith Bowman in the tube. Amazing comment. Adam said, now we're gambling. Let's go. That's funny, man. All right, yeah, let's do this. I think that's really, I mean, you guys have been so supportive tonight. So fitting, and I didn't want to throw this in. I honestly didn't know if I was going to do that, but I didn't want to throw this in early and be like, throw your super chats, you know. But it's like, you guys, it's crazy. It's over 400 entries, 403 entries right now. I mean, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. All right, so I'm gonna have to share my screen. Give me just a second. I've got all the entries here. Thank you, Joe, for helping me track these things. We spend 7 times, and like I said, 4th place is getting that CGF. And the other guys will be getting those 12 sample packs. All right, share screen. Random.org. How does management feel about this decision? I don't know. Who cares? I'm just kidding. I respect management. I respect my management. paste everybody's name in here. So there, I got everybody's names. Let me share my screen. Hide the banner. So you can see, like, the way this worked was, you know, your name is in here the amount of times as your entries. And so you scroll all the way down. This is all the names from Thomas Gallagher all the way up to Stone Cold. And then I'll just show you actually, sorry, I gotta reshare here because it's on a different, screen. And then I'll put the other one back up. But you can see how this works. This is the spreadsheet we're using. So on the left is your name and then your number of entries. Oh, it looks a little kind of wonky there. Hang on one second. There you go. So your name, Adam, $100 super chat at 20 entries. And then it populated his name 20 times here. And so on and so forth. And your name is included in here. And that's what Joe and I have been double checking all night. So that's that. And then that's what I just pasted. At the top is Stone Cold. And all the way at the bottom is Thomas Gallagher, which you will see here, as I showed you a second ago. Right. Stone Cold at the top. You have 8 entries, not 4. Yeah, you super chatted 2 different times. So your name's going to appear twice with 4 entries. Because I think you did 2 different $20 super chats, if I recall correctly. I mean, I'll double check it right now, Garrett, but I'm pretty sure that is right. Garrett Kowalski 4 and pretty sure 4 and 4. Yeah, we got you. We got you. It's per super chat. There you go. I know a lot of people will be like, dude, you missed me. And then I go back and I always check and I'm like, no, we're good. So here you go. 7 spins, top 4. You know how it works. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Boom. So, James Preston, Brandy, Eric, sample pack winners. Okay. I'm going to take a picture of this so I don't forget. And then we got Dalton A winning the CGF. So let me write this down. Top 3 sample pack. 4th place CGF. Here's what I need from you. If you won, I need you to email me because it's the only way I can get in touch with you. Drums and Drams. drumsanddrams@gmail.com. Email me, let me know your name, and I need your mailing address. I need your mailing address. These will go out on Monday, I think. I don't want them to go over the weekend. It's so hot outside right now. But Monday would be the day they'd probably go out. Congrats, guys. Hey, listen, I know we can't all win and stuff like this. I understand, but here's the deal. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you supporting the channel, whether it was just for the giveaway or if you've been here for 5 years, you know. If you have, I'm sorry about that. But lots of fun whiskey tonight. Lots of like top of 2026 port tonight on this one. Not even including the Bullet 20. I don't even know if I've tasted that on the live stream yet, but outside of Patreon, I can't remember. Yeah, appreciate it. It's awesome. And fun to throw this in and a couple other samples in there. And yeah, hit that like on your way out. Anything else? Any other thoughts, questions? I thought this was a great stream. I thought it was really fun. I mean, kept it together, had a great time. We covered so much ground. And the backbones and the Elkwoods drop tomorrow. I've got to go finish that email right now to everybody. So I've got some work still to do this evening. Thanks, guys. And Joe, star of the freaking show, Joe D. I owe Joe a bottle chug of Blade & Bow 30 now. Thank you all, and have a good night. Anthology 124.4. Very good whiskey. Cheers.